We are live. Shout out to everybody in the building. The Alabama Montgomery Brawl, beatdown, whatever we gonna call it, is going viral. You know, it's been 5 days since. There's been analysis paralysis on it. This will be probably the last time I do a live show directly on the topic. Because, what tends to happen is people give their immediate raw reaction to an event like that. And then in the preceding days, people start giving their reactions to other people's reactions and picking apart where other people, are going left on it. Things that other people got wrong on it. The views and perceptions of Black people gets scrutinized and picked apart, something I do on this show all the time. So obviously when it came to that moment in time that, I think Black people, even Black people who aren't on the blackety black stuff did, look at that situation as, what, it wasn't, it was a warranted, most Black people looked at it as a warranted thing, a warranted reaction, a warranted response. A man is getting jumped and beat down, and then surrounding citizens came to his aid. It was about race, the reason why they came to his aid, but nevertheless, surrounding citizens came to his aid. And there's technically nothing wrong with that. But there can be something wrong with the greater reaction and that Black people had to it, and all the implications of the reaction. And we're going to be digging deeper into that. I will be joined by SKC, who did a reaction video to my video. He took some issues with some aspects of my response to it. So we're going to talk about all that and tease all that out. And so let's strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. But the fact of the matter is, I clicked on the wrong shit. Yeah. I clicked on the wrong shit. This was a video where I was making fun of some chick that was that I'm not even gonna play that where they be putting on, they be faking like they got some magical cream that give you a BBL and advertising it to women and showing twerk videos and say, look at Keisha just put on our magic natural fit booty cream and gave her a natural BBL. Accidentally clicked on that. That was on the previous show when I talked about that. Now we're getting into the intro. Apologies. Apologies for accidentally clicking on that. But let's go.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
Shout out to everybody in the building. We've done so much with so little for so long. We are now qualified to do anything with nothing. Those are the words from Machismo TV, the best male-centric clip show and highlight reel in the business. Make sure you go and subscribe. I don't got the link in the chat. I don't have any, active working moderators. I got moderators in the chat because, that's my boy. We cool, but you Negroes don't drop links. Y'all just be there. Y'all got a wrench just for show. But if you're up for it, go ahead and drop Machismo TV's link. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Early Bird Squad. Those are making it in bright and early. And yes, I'm starting a little early today. SKC said on White People Time, and I was telling them in the back of all the stereotypes, the one that I can't shake is that being on time stuff. I cannot shake it. I remember when Ike Ogiamian told me that even in Africa, in Nigeria, where he's from, and everywhere else in Africa, pretty much, everybody is always late to the point to where they don't even expect, they don't even give an exact time. They'll never say, oh, yes, the event starts at 2:30 p.m. precisely. No, it's things start. It's either in the morning, it's either in the afternoon or night. There's like blocks of time and you show up anywhere in that realm. Like that, he said that's practically how they view time. They'll give you a number. Like if they say 1 p.m., that means anytime between noon, anytime between 1 and 5, 1 and 4, somewhere in there. Just, we will probably be going at full tilt by 4 or 5. Niggas. I mean, well, let's not call it Africans niggas, but anyway. All right. Shout out to Truth Only in the building. Says SKC, you thing cooks are accepted there. Okay, I don't have no idea what you're talking about. Shout out to Winthrop. Shout out to Deacon Dave. Shout out to JC the Conqueror. Said SKC is going to piss some folks off. Yeah. But one slight teaser trailer to this. Well, we're going to be sort of reacting to his reaction to me. So I might be the one that, I was okay. I don't even want to give away too much of my take on what he said. I won't say I was pissed, but I disagreed with his analysis of my analysis. So that will be an aspect of it. And of course, we're going to get into, as we always do, talking about aspects of Black culture, of which, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. We're going to be reacting to a reaction, Deacon Dave in the building says, Viva Con SKC. So, saludo. Okay. Hood Servant in the building says, don't get in your feelings. General Washington in the building. Shout out to you. Who else we got in here? Deacon Dave. And I'm seeing all these laughs because what happened at the beginning of the show, I'll rehash this for those who missed it. When I started the show and tried to click the intro, I accidentally clicked the wrong video. I started the show and tried to click the intro. Hit the like button. We almost had 100 people in here. Let's get it started. I accidentally did this. When I started the show, I clicked the wrong button. And I accidentally clicked on this. Now, the story behind that is if you're in the StreamYard thing, you have a bunch of videos preset, and the intro is one of the preset ones. You know, I clicked on the wrong one, so I'm like, let's get ready to go, let's get it, and then boom, boom. That was funny as hell. That was a fuck up. That was a fuck up. But SKC says, is that a dude? Well, yes, they do get BBLs, so could be. But all right, without further ado, shout out to everybody in the building. Strap on in, hit the like button. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. We are about to bring up, as soon as I stop tripping, we're about to bring up and are joined by SKC. SKC in the building. Good morning. What's going on?
Morning. Yeah, I mean, hey, thanks for having me on. I didn't even know you were watching my stuff, but
I didn't catch. I saw like 45 seconds of it live, and I was like, he's taking a weird position against my position. Then I said, well, maybe he's talking about generally what black people think. But then somebody told me that I ain't gonna tell you who, but somebody told me that you were reacting to my video, and they said, and I think he's misrepresenting you. And I was like, huh. All right, let me go watch it. So I went and sometimes I do just be watching your shit in the clouds. I'm a cloud watcher. Even before I had a channel, like I was just around in the space for like a year and a half, just listening in the clouds before I ever drop one comment. And even that now I got a channel, I'm still a cloud watcher. So I be watching, but sometimes I gotta unplug from this shit. So every now and then, sometimes I do be watching in the clouds, but just like how I ducked in and saw like less than a minute of it, and then I had to go and I had to start getting ready for my show. But then somebody did hit me up later and say, hey, SKC was reacting to your shit. And I think he kind of was, it was actually, they said he was misrepresenting you. And,
so iron it out.
Yeah. And so then I went and watched it, and yeah, I agreed that, and that's why I was like, okay, we gotta talk about this. we gotta talk about this. And what really prompted it is when you said on the stream, maybe me and Bernard could, have this conversation. You said you'd be open to having a discussion about it. So then I was like, okay, so yeah, we definitely will have the discussion. I hit you up, and you being punctual, not on colored people time, responded back in like less than 4 minutes. Ready to go. What time? Yeah, I was like, okay,
man. Cool. I was right in the middle of whenever I'm like in work mode, I'm always like just rapid fire on a lot of those things. But I was sent a bunch of videos of different people, because I didn't just cover your show. I covered a lot of other people's stuff as well. But I was just doing a live react to some of the ideas, like fresh live, and since all of this Alabama Montgomery stuff came across my feed, and I said, F it, let me just do it live and go from there. But I'm curious as to
well, some of it did sound like you pre-watched some of it, because it looked like you were scrolling to certain parts. Like it was a time when you jumped ahead right to another part that I thought you had time stamped. Like I know some parts of it, like the OG part, or when OG came in, you said I haven't seen this part, but I think prior to that you had seen it before. You had seen it, right?
No, like there were certain, I think like probably one or two, like 2 or 3 or 4 minute clips I saw, and I had timestamped those, but the entire show, like, nah, I hadn't
Oh no,
watched it.
of course,
I was just
yeah.
I was just shooting on various points that that people were bringing, and it just, even to this day when I think about it, in conjunction with all of the different reactions that have been on Twitter and other social media outlets, it's like, holy crap, man. But we can build up to that.
Yeah. But All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. This is SKC's stream when he was reacting to my stream, and that's why the white baby is ever present. I don't know, that white baby is the funniest thing ever. For like a long time, you just had the white baby there, and I never understood why. I finally found out why, like late in the game. I just was like,
Oh, you found out about Emoter
yeah,
baby?
yeah. I did find out what the baby was there for eventually. Now, but all right, so I think I got it more or less where I started. Okay, and here we go. Like you did a little pre-ramble that I think I skipped that part where you said you were giving some criticism, and that's fine. That's fine. I embrace criticism. The original premise idea of my show, I wanted a debate show where black men, black women, and people from all views came over and debated and hashed things out. And I kind of had that going at one point. And my place was getting called Switzerland, but then, niggas gonna nigga, and, eventually the herd got thinned out a little bit. Cause it's like,
I think you could do it again. I think it was an excellent idea, but
yeah, no, I mean, I may try to figure out a way to refacilitate that, but really, yeah, I mean, some people self-segregated, and then it got to the point where some people just doing stupid shit to where I ended up blocking. But no, but that ain't where the Switzerland thing kind of broke up. It really turned into some self-segregation after so many arguments, fights, and shootouts and beefs that I wasn't in, but a lot of beef started on my shit, and it was just like, so some people just, niggas can't have nothing nice. But all right, but anyway, let's get into it.
I'll do some criticizing today,
and that's going to really start the discussion. Because listen, I'm not one of those people that live in fear that some race war is about to happen. But I do think black people always frame it wrong when they talk about a race war, because they talk about it from the standpoint like it's going to be the United States government against black citizens, but it will really actually be black citizens against white citizens. And a good percentage of white citizens, they got their white guilt and they ultra liberal, and they don't, they don't, they ain't really about that. So it won't be a landslide like a lot of people say. Oh, we don't lose if it's a race war. No, it ain't going to be white citizens. It's going to look like the shit we just saw in pockets.
Now that I absolutely disagree with. Absolutely disagree with. Here's the reason why. %13 of the population is not going to overrun the rest of the population.
All right. I could stop it right there. You went on and went into history when other places had superior forces or this or that or blah, blah, blah. You went into a lot of things in history and made a lot of points I agree with. When I said the part of it where I said most white people are on that liberal white guilt, shit, they ain't really about that. What did you think I meant when I said that?
Exactly what you stated. But I think that the problem with that is that those people aren't static. Once they begin to feel various pressures about certain things, their attitude changes a lot. And you can see that right in different places like Seattle, Portland, so forth. A whole bunch of white liberalism was going on there, and now you have a bunch of white people who were former liberals that are like, "Oh no, this junk has to go." So
Wait a minute. See, now we just got, all right, we didn't stumbled into a problem there, because one of my premises that you were objecting to is when I was talking about stuff like that, whether it's on racial lines or on some woke liberal shit, white people can get up in arms and raise up. And so when I was talking about that, you went back to a, white people don't see race the way black people see race, and it's obvious and evident, but you start depicting it as if I was saying they do. But in reality, what I was clearly saying is that, like I said, most of them are on some liberal white guilt type shit. They ain't really about that life and fighting no race war. But it's like you just said, that's practically was my point. When pushed or motivated, or put a spotlight on this shit that's a problem coming their way, they could change, and they could mobilize. They could get to the point where, just like that thing, like that black people was up in arms about when Kyle Rittenhouse, strapped up and went to go defend some other, businesses at a town and shot some white people running away, getting chased. He got chased, was running away, fell on his back, and people running at him. He had to shoot.
No.
And I don't know why black people gave a shit. It's very possible that white people could get inspired to the point to where when some shit go down, something happened questionable, and either black people or Antifa or a combination of all of it is about to be showing up, rallying, burning shit, blowing shit up. It's very possible that white people could get to the point where not just one Kyle Rittenhouse show up, like, no, 1,000 of them show up, like, no, y'all ain't doing this shit. You see that as possible, right?
Yeah, I see that as possible, but what I'm saying is that just because people do, I would say, change their minds on like some type of liberal position of, oh, we can't do anything against these people and such and such.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they could have a different reason as to why they would rise up to defend themselves. It may not be on a thought of, oh man, we are racially superior and we got to put these blacks down. It's like, no, we have people who are raging criminals at this point, and they're trying to destroy civilization. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about race. It's about, you have a bunch of people who they're stating some idea about getting back at some past mythical crimes and trying to enact some type of cosmic justice. And they don't even have a plan as to what is going to happen after that. They're just hell bent on destruction. So if they're on this animalistic thing, then we have to put these animalistic people down.
And a lot of those animalistic people are black people, correct?
They could be. Some of them could be.
I mean, don't pussyfoot. Okay, I'm willing to say that there's an overwhelming percentage. I mean, if you just look at the crime data of violent crimes, there's some black people that fall in the category of what even Dr. Umar said. They need to be when we try to really fix this shit, some of them are going to have to get put down for good. So I don't run from that. Mm-hmm. And I do stand on my position that Jason Aldean, for example, in that song, he said that, I said the first verse he was talking about, I said niggas, sort of drawing a distinction between black people and niggas. But either way it go, I think in the first verse, he was talking about niggas. And keep in mind, well, I want to back up a little bit because I was being so long-winded. That's the part where, okay, there's a part of it where I felt like, okay, SKC is being disingenuous. Then there's another part of it where I was being long-winded to the point to where I see how I when I rewatched it, I was like, okay, I was long-winded to the point to where it opened the door for people to misinterpret it, because I was trying to establish that the man was talking about black people or niggas in the first verse of that song. So, but one thing I want to back up and point out one more thing, because I don't want you to skate by that. I never said that they would be squatting up on some racial superiority. I never said that. And I never even said that that squatting up and having a radical type of reaction, because compared to the weak sauce liberal feminized cucked shit that a lot of white people are on, when it comes to race relations, where they say, diversity is our greatest strength, and we can't criticize this, and we can't criticize that, we can't call this out. Even if a black person kills one of our family members on the news, you could hear them talking about it, where it's like they talking around, they saying everything wrong that happened other than the race of the person that did it in the neighborhood that she was in or he was in when it happened. They talking around that. And I do think that there is I do think there is a growing uprising is probably the wrong word, but there is a growing percentage of white people who are basically just getting to the point where they like, no, we're not pussyfooting around this shit. And so I do think that there's a percentage of them that are in the early stages of taking what would definitely be a radical stance compared to what they what they used to have. And you just admitted that, yes, they will if certain pressures are put in place. And so I think what happened in me talking about that, I think you bypassed, I think some necessary setup that and understood, because you listen to me in Hood Conservative Show every Saturday, and just skipped ahead and pretended as if I was one of the people talking like, yeah, this is a race war and we gonna get them back and blah 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 blah. It's like, no, I wasn't on that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't on that, and I think you pretended like you thought I was.
No. Okay, so just like when you started out, you stated that the whole idea of a race war is that's a non sequitur, like that's not real,
right?
And but then you stated, however, if there was going to be one, I don't think that it's going to turn out like as people think that it would be. And so then I was just playing into that scenario as a whole. Okay, let's say that it is, because I'm with you on the thought that I believe that the whole race war thing, that is just a bunch of black mythology. Never going to happen. And it definitely would not turn out the way that people think that it would. It's just a bunch of feel good, aspirational mumbo jumbo that is meaningless.
I agree.
However, if we want to play into the scenario, and then that's where my commentary went.
Okay, yeah, okay, but I think your commentary skipped a whole flight of stairs, and maybe I could have been more clear and precise. But when I was saying a lot of white people are on that liberal and white guilt stuff, and later in the stream, and you did play this part, I was talking about the radicalized percentage of white people that's about that action is a minority. I said it will be white citizens. I said it will be black citizens versus radicalized white people. I didn't say radicalized black people versus radicalized white people, because most black people are radicalized in their view of white people. I think it will only be between black people and the white people who have a radicalized view of race, similar to how black people view race. And I didn't say this, and I should have said it. The military itself, the strongest military, in fact, I did say it. The strongest military in the world is not going to let two separate factions or groups militarize on domestic soil and go to war with each other. So that's why it's mythology. It's never going to fucking happen. So it will. So the strongest military on earth with a PH, the strongest military on earth is going to break the shit up damn near before it even starts. So the only thing that you will truly see is random, sporadic pockets of shootings or beatings, or this group of people said, yeah, there goes some, and they gonna jump on some of them, or some people gonna maybe get a little more organized and set up and start shooting in them. I don't know, in a more organized, structured, militarized looking way. But either way it go, it will be just small pockets of that. We have rule of law in this country. Like that shit, like look at what happens when it's a damn mass shooting. Like, so if people start organizing it in groups, like that shit will get shut down. The war will be over in a couple days. For real. Like it won't even look like a war. It will just look like random violent crimes taking place. That's what I meant when I said it'll look like what we just saw right here. It would just look like some random violent crimes.
Yeah,
So
I totally
that's what
agree with you.
but hold on, but that's why I thought the whole, saying that 13% of the population, pretending like I thought 13% of the population was going to overtake the rest of the population. That is a stupid ass statement that I think you've talked to me enough to where I don't think that. And that's why
No,
I was like, what is he doing?
okay,
Right, go ahead.
what I was saying was this: after the like the whole 13% of the population thing, what I was saying is that those skirmishes that people are talking about, while you have on Twitter and what's that, Facebook and TikTok and all this junk with these black people running around doing posts with folding chairs and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Those type of skirmishes, there aren't going to be folding chairs and hands involved. That would be guns and
Mm-hmm.
other items of such. So this idea about, oh well, no, it may be a bit more even as it is. No, it's not going to be a lot more even. The what I think a lot of the community does is over they overplay their hand of how bad that they think that they are.
Mm.
Take
No, I
I'll
agree.
give you this for an example. I'll give this for example. Look at how the community handled certain um natural disasters,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and then look at other communities how they handled natural disasters.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tale of the tape.
I agree with that. I agree with that, even though I was saying we're talking 13% of the population versus like if the shit like went down like right now, I think we're talking probably 13% of the population. I said in the stream, if 13% of white people, if the number of radicalized white people get up to around 13%, then it's an equal fight in terms of numbers. But even I said in the stream that it's not up to 13%. I don't think I put a number on it, but I was in my mind thinking 4 or 5% of white people might be radicalized and about that life. And if they hear the term race war, they probably like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Maybe 4% of white people are on that spectrum, and so that's why I was thinking that you will have, some random 4% of the population in, in random skirmishes or random skirmish or shootout with each other versus the 13% of the population in a random skirmish or shootout. It would end up being something like that. I'll say this because hey, we criticize the disorderly shit that niggas do on this show or on my show all the time. Even in stronger numbers, that 13% of black people may not be orderly and on code as the 4%. The 4% of radicalized white people, they would probably start they would start militarizing to the point to where they'll be 4% of that population, 4% of the population organized versus, let's just say, 10% of the black population unorganized, and that may make a even fight. But either way it go, I'm not the champion of the race war.
Yeah,
If it's a race war, hold on, wait, real quick. If it's a race war, you would have to show me. It would have to be some really extreme situations where I could be like, okay, this opposing force just is for whatever reason marching on white people. I mean, marching on black people, trying to exterminate all blacks. Like, and then that's like, okay, that's a situation where we got to fight. But this contrived race war, clap back from the 1700s, that shit. No, I'm not on that shit. So the biggest thing that I was saying there, the biggest point that I was trying to make there is that it's not going to happen, and black people have some mythologized view of it. Like, I was talking about this with somebody else off air, and they were talking about it like it would be black people versus the strongest military on earth. And I'm like, no, We don't live in that world. We don't live in that country. That military is, for better or worse, all intents and purposes, our military, and they would get in the way of it and protect both sides from each other and stop it and arrest and do what they got to do. And even if they got to put people down on both sides to end the shit, they not going to let a damn war take place. Like, that's my position. You knew that was my position. So the whole idea of my point was really centered around the percentage of radicalized white people that would be down for the get down in that type of situation, and how would that work? That was more so my point, not 13% trying to take over the rest of the country. Like, come on. Like,
Okay.
I think you know me well enough to know that that's not what I was trying to say, even if I wasn't as precise as I should have been.
Yeah, I don't think that was I don't think that was my full argument, but in this, I think reveals a bit of the part of, I would say, somewhat of how the community overblows their position. Okay, you know how you just stated that you think out of 100% of white people, probably 4% will be quote unquote about doing anything.
Yeah, because I agree with
Okay,
you
okay.
I agree with you that white people don't view race the way that we view race. You made
Okay,
that point
so
when you're counter to my point. So now
okay, so
go ahead and
so
argue
so
against yourself.
no,
Go
no.
ahead.
So I'm just asking, what percentage of Black America? You said 13%, but I'm asking you
Mm,
to rethink that position.
got you. Okay, the way I came up with 13% is because I do think that the majority, to the point, you can't say all, but I would say roughly 90% of Black people have a radicalized view of race in this country. Now, does that mean that 90% is ready to bear arms in a race war? No. So there's that. So I understand what you're going if you're just talking about the percentage of people ready to bear arms. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
let's play it even. It was done on the quote unquote white side. Let's do it on the black side. My contention is that there's a lot more bark than bite. I think that it will
agreed.
be a lot of Black people that will be straight up cowards and bow down at the sign of any type of danger or anything.
Yeah, and I think the main reason why a lot of them will do it, because in their mind, they're not thinking a small faction of 4% of white citizens. No, they're thinking we can't take on the US military. Like, literally in every discussion about a race war, they literally frame it like we're going to be taking on the military, the US military, the strongest military in the universe, as far as we know. And so, but either way it go, I do, yeah. I mean, I think the punk out percentage will be real high in the event that
Okay,
that happens. Yeah.
give me your thoughts. You did it on the other side. You were able
I
to
don't
do your
know. I
general
think
thing and say, you know what, on the other side, out of the 100%, 4% are actually going to be the issue. Then do the same thing, do the same
I
due
didn't say
diligence on
issue.
the black side.
All right. The percent that will see on the white side, I was kind of talking ideology. I wasn't even talking who would pick up a gun and shoot. So I don't know. I probably would put it at maybe. See, I don't know, because niggas be fake, so I don't know. So like, I mean,
And that's what I'm talking about.
I want to put it at maybe 50%. That's where my mind goes, but I'm like, nah, it could be very well. No, I'm gonna
I'll throw my
say,
percentage out there. I'll throw my percentage out there.
okay, go ahead.
At best, 8%. At
Ooh, no,
best.
that's low. That's low. See, I was thinking more in the realm of him, like maybe okay, put it like this. Everybody will support it, but those willing to actually fight in it, like,
Yeah.
pull up.
Yeah.
Ooh, see that? Hold on,
Let
wait.
me
Yeah,
let me
no,
give you
I think you're right, because now we're not talking about it from a concept. We're talking about it. How many military-aged males are going to bear arms and show up
mhm.
to war? Like
Yeah.
that's
Who are gonna be
Yeah.
your Micah X Johnsons?
Micah Itch Johnson.
Yeah, the dude that went in Dallas that took on the police and fought from the from the parking the garage parking lot thing that he was in, and they had to get a robotic bomb to blow him up, and all of the black folk in Dallas just watched it happen and shut up. Yeah, at
Damn, I don't.
best 8%, at best.
Yeah. I mean, if you take it, you took it a place where I didn't even take it. I was really thinking more like from an ideological standpoint, 13% of black people. I mean, the whole damn near all of black people have a radicalized view of race when it comes to white people. So I was really talking
But they're not
about.
about anything.
I get that. I get that. No, I see the angle you going completely. If you go to angle from who has the ideology where they're 100% in support of it, that's damn near 100% with black people, and I would say a really small percentage with white people. But then of those percentages, you do have to take out you gotta parse out military age males ready to fight, and then that's when it turns into a whole nother different dynamic in the mythical race war that won't happen. But I understand what you're saying. But either way it go, I think we can agree. I wasn't saying 13% of the population was going to overrun the rest of the population.
Yeah. That's not your argument. I'm saying
but that's the argument that you countered, though. That's the argument that you countered. That's why I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Why is he misrepresenting me?
That's the argument that I countered in. If we were to both go into that mythical scenario of a race war, which we don't believe in, we were just playing like war games inside of a mythical scenario. And what I was stating is that inside of that mythical scenario, even in that, black people overshoot how that would even go down. No, 13% would not be able to be that effective because, first of all, of that 13%, and I'm being extremely generous, 92% ain't about nothing. They wouldn't do jack crap. That's the truth. And black people talk all this noise about, oh, we gonna do this and blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. And there isn't anybody just to come out and actually state that. But you'll have other people that will come out and they will say, oh, well, white people, they really not going to do anything and so forth, as if you don't have the same type of people with the same set of I would say inabilities on your side, as if you're just dealing with some type of Wakanda warriors or something. It's like, no, you're not.
No, when it comes to white people, I'm gonna play the rest of the tape. We can move past this point, but with white people, I don't think it's the inability. I think it's they don't. Well, okay, there's a percent. Okay, fair enough. There's a percentage that's scared, and there's a percentage that operate. This is a clip I had in the show. I was going to play this later, but I guess it is relevant now. Is relevant now. This was something that I said on the show when it comes to white people. This is the main reason why I didn't understand your premise or any argument that you made against anything I said, because me saying this was a clip. But the fact of the matter is, and it's something that me and his server talk about this on Saturday, the way black people view race is actually fortunate for black people that most white people don't view race that way. Because if white people viewed race the way that black people viewed race, shit wouldn't be shaking too well for us. That's just the fact of the matter. They supporting policies that's going to make them a minority. I keep making this point all the time. People act like they don't hear it. They support policies that's going to make them a minority in this country. Like that's yielding power. They're actively yielding power and celebrating it because of diversity and inclusion, and we're better together. That a lot of white people are on that shit, and that's my central. That's one of my central points, or that's the point that I landed on in the end when we were doing the stream. But I say that all the time, and I know I say that all the time. So once we get into the video, it's going to be like, well, is we're going to get into why you were talking about this from a perspective like I was like you was watching the Taz exclusives video.
I can tell you right. I can tell you right now. Where we divulge is this. When you state that there would probably be about 4% of white people that have that radicalized view of race, and then you state that the majority of black people have this radicalized view of race.
Mm-hmm.
Where I divulge is why would that be a good thing to hold a radicalized view of race, and why should that style of thinking, why should it I just think that it should be criticized a bit more, picked apart, and then shown the pros and cons of staying within that type of mentality.
Okay, where did I say that it was a good thing to have that radicalized view of race?
No, you didn't.
I know, but you said we divulge on this part right here because of black people having a radicalized view of race, and why is that a good thing? So to ask me why is that a good thing, you're essentially stating that I'm of the view that it's a good thing.
No, I'm saying as a whole, take for instance, like when reviewing some of the video and people are sitting and they're I guess celebrating the event that took place,
Yeah.
that's in line with that radicalized view of race. Am I right?
Yes and no. There's a certain element of having fun with the video, you know. Just like, I mean, you have fun with a lot of videos of niggas doing nigga shit. So there's a certain element of having fun with the video. There's a certain element of, there's a certain righteous element of, yeah, they jumped on that guy for all the wrong reasons. It was like 4-on-1 and he on the ground, and then citizens, fueled by fueled by racial animosity from the past or whatever their reason was, even if they ran over there for racial reasons over shit that they didn't even experience. But the fact of the matter is, a man was being jumped by he was being attacked by a mob, and citizens came to his rescue to help. And it was some funny parts. I mean, Aquaman swimming across there, the chairman of the board. It was some funny stuff in there. But then I can agree with you that then there's the Jason Blacks of the world who take a view like, I only watched like 30 seconds of his shit. I went in at a random moment, and he was over there playing the clip. He's like, what they did, that protects all of us. They protected all of us in the future from future attacks on this. I'm like, well, damn, right. So that aspect of it, we agree that that's some radicalized, racialized fuck shit. All right. We agree on that. My problem is that you depicted your response as if I was one of those people, as if I was a Jason Black minion up here, tooting the We Shall. I was mocking them by saying they not singing We Shall Overcome, they singing We Shall Overcame. I mean, we have overcame. It's like I said that in the stream.
I didn't hear that part, but that's pretty funny. You
played that damn part. I heard, you played it. So it's like you knew I didn't hold that ridiculous position, but you responded as if I did. And that was the part where I was like, and something is off about this. Now we'll get into. Let me play forward so people could probably see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, show me what you're talking about.
I'm trying to. Oh wait, shit! No, that ain't gonna get it. Because right now you going on your spiel about history and military and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah. You may want to speed it up because typically when I'm doing the show, I'm working too, so I'm
As
distracted and
Yeah, no, I'm
yeah, that-
yeah, I'm just skipping. Well, I don't. Yeah, I will speed up your part, but you had my part sped
no,
up. So damn it, you talked a long time on that shit. Hold on, let me. Okay, there we go. I'm just waiting until I see my face move again, and then I know that you playing me. Come on. All right, here. All right, there we go. I moved. All right.
let me go on into this little video, this little music video, and let me show you an example of it.
The government and the cops are the ones who are going to be breaking it up. The government not going to be in on a race war. I know a lot of people think that, but no, a race war is going to be just factions. The white radicals versus the black people. Notice I said it like that on purpose. I didn't say the white radicals versus the black radicals. No, I said the white radicals versus black people. Because all black people radicals with this race shit. So it's like so however many white people are radicalized versus the population of black people, and the government going to jump in and try to break it up. So if the population of white people that are radicalized and ready to gun some niggas down is greater than 13-15%, then it's a then it's a then you know then we.
All right, stop right there, Bernard. Stop right there.
All right, and this is SKC respond to what I said. I didn't have that much to say about. I mean, I actually forgot this part. What you said, I'll play what you said right here. But and I hate when people pause me at moments like that. By the way, you know, that's just me.
I didn't mean to hand you up like that.
I know, I know. But I don't even know what you about to say right here.
You're my guy, man, but you just throw in the whole thing about gunning people down. See, that's a totally different element. That's a totally different element.
And you do need to get sped up because yeah, you be talking slow.
What you saw at the Alabama riverfront was most likely some drunk people not wanting to follow directions, and then got into a brawl with the security guard, which they had not, what they should have
honestly
gone to jail for.
Honestly, I think we could skip this part because I mean, what you about to say now, we kind of you know hash that out, talking about the odds and the ends of
Yeah,
what would
I
go
think
down.
think
And
one thing
one
that
that
we
I
certainly disagree on is the Jason Aldean thing.
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't
Yeah,
think that song is
we'll get
racist
in.
at all.
We'll. What'd you say?
Yeah, I don't think that song is racist at all.
Now this here again. I got to ask a question, and maybe you
Oh.
can. We gonna play the clip, but you got to tell me where I said it was racist. I said he was talking about niggas. I didn't
Yeah,
say.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't
I
think
didn't
that it
say he
had
was
anything to do.
racist.
Okay, let me recant. I don't think that the dude was talking about black people.
I strongly disagree. So we'll get into that.
All right.
Hold on.
I know for a fact the community.
However, we may not have the upper hand in this so-called race war. That ain't going to happen. However, I'm not convinced on how many the percentage of white people that are truly radicalized. I'm not convinced on that. But so right there, I mean, just establish something right there when I said I'm not convinced on the percentage of white people that are truly radicalized. You know, that's me basically, you know, admitting and affirming that I don't view everything through some racial lens where I think that there's some white boogeyman out to get us, and all I see is race in every situation. And you did, you know, you later try to depict it as that when I've said things in this video and my whole damn channel, probably to my detriment, is based on me making that point. So it's like that's why I'm like, what the fuck? but let's go. Hold on. When it comes to radical,
All right, I take issue with this thought of radicalized white people. Yes, the coon is gonna go full coon today. Radicalized white people stating they want to defend their stuff, They want to live in peace. They don't want to be involved in with people doing random acts of crime and violence. That's radicalized. I'm asking a question. Is that radicalized?
All
The
right.
reason
Oh, yeah,
why I say
And I
that is
had to pose
because
that
of
question because, and I posed that question because um of what you have on the screen. It's a song talking about try that in a small town, and it's like the whole issue of the song is talking about that they don't want criminal activity happening in their small community.
Mhm.
I'm like, what? How is this? How is this in any way associated with anything radical?
Okay. Let me say this.
Is that a fair question?
No, it's that this is I would say the most fair part of your question, and I would say we sort of have to appeal to the fact that you know me, and you probably you know that my position on this. It seemed like you should know that my position on this, and I talked to somebody else about it, and they said that I was long-winded getting to the point that opened the door for somebody to misinterpret it. But somebody who knows me, been listening to me for 3 years, should have knew better that I wasn't taking the position that he's racist and he's radicalizing white people to do harm or do this or do that. When I was talking radicalized, I was talking more or less what we were talking about before. If a thousand Kyle Rittenhouses show up, or if some shit go down, and let's just say that if a thousand Kyle Rittenhouses show up strapped, ready to protect the town, that is radicalized. The Black Panthers, they all the racism that was being faced in the 60s and 70s, the Black Panthers, yeah, they were radicalized. They were a radicalized group. So it's like in that sense, like you could do something, you could take a radical action, but still be righteous in the process of doing it. So if they're saying that these people are committing crimes and we strapped up, we ready to go, we locked and loaded, bring it, and then they get organized with it, and they get it becomes a part of the culture where they just on guard, they ready to go, they no longer have that passive ideology of diversity and we are all one and all views accepted. No, you come with some fuck shit, we putting you down for good, like Umar said. Yeah, I think compared to where they're currently at, I think that's a radical stance. And I do think that the song, I do think that there's an element of the song that it is that emboldens people to take that stance. However, in the same video, I literally, when I made it to my conclusion, when I talked about the Montgomery Brawl, where black people got radical to defend a black person getting beat up. I talked about the situation in my hometown where it's a sign up on a business that sell used tires, and you played this part, that say, we don't call the police, we call the ambulance, we ready to go if y'all come in here with some bullshit. And that store is in the hood. And I said they're not wrong. I talked about the Indian the it was some Indian
Yeah, the
guys, they grabbed up
7-Eleven
the
guy.
black,
Yeah.
the 7-Eleven. It looked like the son held him down and the dad started beating him in the legs with the stick. The guy had to limp away, and somebody in your chat room even came in. They weren't even white, and then you even said, yeah, see, they see everything in race, in white, like as if I'm Tariq Nasheed saying, oh, they honorary white supremacists because they had to handle a black criminal. I'm like, so you did take a position sort of like that, and we'll get into that. But either way, I set it up where I talked about those three situations where somebody reacted and it was radical. You can't wait on the police to come. People got to defend themselves. So I basically made the point in the end that they're not wrong. Like I essentially made that point, and I know it took a long time to get there, but I was slow walk setting it up, but I did make that point in the end. So yes, I do think that if white people's position on on race and the fuck shit that's happening, the bullshit, rather even if we're talking about the the Antifa shit at the rallies and all of that stuff, or just random black crime, or acts of black crime, when it comes to I use air quotes, I said mostly peaceful protests where they rioting and tearing shit up. If white people take a stance like, you're not doing that over here, and we're not going to look at this like we're not going to describe this as poverty and fighting the system. We're going to describe it as y'all are doing some bullshit, and we're going to be ready to put y'all down. Yes, that's taking a righteously radical position. So when I said radicalized, I wasn't you depicted it as if I was the person who who's criticizing white people for defending themselves. And I think I don't take positions like that. So it's like why even go that route?
Yeah, I don't think I guess what I was asking was the whole idea of what do you hold as radical, and
I just
I
described
don't
it.
think and I don't think that um I guess I don't know, maybe it is from just being from different parts of the country. um I know for a fact here in Texas, defending your own property and preventing people from doing random acts of criminality, that's not viewed as radical. That's just viewed as the doggone basically the state motto, come and take it.
Okay, defending your own property is not radical. Knowing that 30 miles away that something might be going down, so y'all mobilize, squad up, separate people who didn't even talk all show up at the same time, strapped, ready to defend this shit. I think that is taking a radical stance. Radicalized, the definition of it is cause someone to adopt radical positions on political issues. Damn, they put the word radical in there, so that sort of
Yeah, defeats the
sort of
purpose.
yeah, sort of makes it hard. But basically, it's going from whatever position you are to taking a more extreme or aggressive stance. And I do think it's an aggressive stance to basically to strap up to strap up on some preventative shit, that's happening. That not I'm not talking about somebody coming in your own house or coming in your own store trying to steal shit. I'm talking about, I'm practically mobilizing. Yeah, I do think that's getting white people out of this whole racial diversity stuff, and viewing viewing everybody as all the same. It's a lot of that that's going on. And I think that we're at the early stages, with you saw Scott Adams say the shit that he said. You do see this song that we'll get into, whether or not he was talking about black people in that first verse. We're going to get into that, but I do think we're at the early stages of white people, by coming from like the woke left and a lot of stuff on on the end of black people. you know they are getting to the point to where no, they are not being passive about this. They're getting a more radical position. But I don't say that in the sense that I don't say that in the Umar sense. These radicalized
Yeah,
white people
yeah.
out trying to, gonna,
What
so
I'm saying, what I'm saying is this: the idea of people basically looking out for their community. That's not a radical idea. It has gotten to the point to where things have moved so far to the quote unquote left that now people view stopping a criminal from doing criminal acts as radical, when in times
right. But
past
I don't
that
hold that
person
position. I
I,
don't
I,
hold that
I
position. But you
okay.
argued as if I
what
did. See, that's the issue.
what I'm saying, what I just stated was, we've gotten to the point to where people view stopping a criminal from engaging in a criminal act as radical. Like, you're not supposed to do that. And the point is
that's not radical. In times past, that person was viewed as a hero.
I agree.
They would probably get an award from the city and a handshake from the mayor saying, "Thank you for your brave activity and such," and they would get a little slot on the news saying, such and such did something, and they would say, well, would you do it again? Well, yeah, we need to keep our community safe and blah blah blah. But now you have what I would call radical black people that are doing stuff like the dude in 7-Eleven talking about, nah, man, you can't touch him. You're supposed to call the police. You can't do nothing to him. That's radical.
I agree. And the people who are saying that it was something radical about what the guys did to defend their store, yeah, those people are wrong. And so, no, defending yourself against crime, that does not make you radical. Defending your property, that does not make you radical. And that obviously wasn't my position. The Prophet of Thought series in the building, $3 super chat. He says there should have been an SKC versus Bernard debate. Well, we kind of having it right now. we're debating his response to what I said, but the fact of the matter is we agree on everything, and that's sort of the crux of the issue with the response. That I'm like, dude, I don't take the position that you depicted it as if I took it. But anyway, Charles Merchant in the building says, I don't know, this Alabama brawl came eerily close behind the Alabama abduction hoax. Niggas and their conspiracies.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Wait a minute. What's this? This ain't enough. Make it enough. What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
All right. Appreciate everybody supporting the stream. Shout out to Salty Balls, who sent a $51 cash app either right at the end of the show or after I was off the air. It came at like 3:41. I think I got off the air at like 3:40. So that's gonna, be the show sponsor of the day. So let's acknowledge
Wait a minute. What's this? This ain't enough. Make it enough.
Suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
All right, and and also one more Mean Run Enterprise with a $10 cash app.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
All right, and goddamn, Salty Balls came through with another right as I was saying that. So shout out to
suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
All right, had to take a commercial break to acknowledge the sponsors. Had to take a commercial break. So all right, let's get back into it. Let's get back into it, because now we get into the interesting part. Get into the interesting part.
The music video that
Carjacking their data, something about Rob. I heard that.
Store, you think, well,
Okay, here we go. Too much without playing. People, I think songs have some lyrics of this song. Yeah, I'll play my whole
because
thing.
music for a video that is this an example?
Dog whistle.
How is in the world
Radicalizing, dog whistling through music, because music is the thing that sort of, when I said dog whistling through music, okay, I'm going to lay out the case why in the first verse, I think he was talking about black people, but he didn't say black people, but I think he said things and put imagery on the screen to let it be known that he was talking about black people in the first verse. So that's what I mean by dog whistling. I just wanted to clarify that. It would I'm about to make the case right here, but I just wanted to clarify what I meant by dog whistling. I think he was talking about niggas, but he didn't say niggas. he said he used terms to describe what niggas do, and it used the same lingo that describes what niggas do. Okay, I'm gonna let myself play it. I probably said it accurately here, but I'll go ahead and let it play. Speaks to your soul, speaks to your subconscious, puts things in your spirit, so to speak. Music is the thing that does that. Music can do that, I would say, more than a charismatic speaker, giving a riveting speech to inspire the people. I think songs have the ability to do that. Now, let me attempt to just try to catch some lyrics of this song without playing too much of it.
Carjacking.
Okay, here we go.
Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk. Carjacking old lady at a red light. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like.
All right, real quick, that song kind of went harder, sped up. Just might be my blackness in me. We like it sped up. It was too slow when it was country, but when you got it at 1.5 speed, it kind of hit a little better. But anyway, y'all heard that. Said sucker punch somebody, carjacking old lady, something about robbing a liquor store. Carjacking. I don't know if white people use the term carjack in their day-to-day language. I tend to believe if Billy Ray stole somebody's car, I think they would say Billy Ray stole a car. I don't think they call Billy Ray a carjacker. I think carjacker is a black term. So when he say carjacking, he talking about niggas. I think he said robbing a liquor store. He talking about niggas.
Now here's my point right here. You're identifying your group with criminals. Do you get that? You have just identified your quote unquote race or group that you want to, I would in some way want to defend by their criminal activity. Do you not get the issue with that?
Okay. Again, SKC, I gotta say again, this is me you talking to. I have a whole live stream show on the internet where a big part of what I do is call out nigga shit. A big part of what I do, I describe pro-blacks as people who, all they do, they complain about white people and try to spray cologne over all the shit in the black community. We break down the stats and the data. When it comes to violent crimes, black people are leading the league. And the stuff that he's talking about, pulling guns, mugging, robbing people at gunpoint, assaults, batteries, murder. Like, my channel is the hub that really the hub in the black manosphere that calls out that shit. The biggest channel that calls out that shit. So it's like, explain to me what's in your head when you're associating your own group that you're trying to defend with criminality. It's like, yeah, like that's what the fuck we do. We call out that bullshit and we don't sweep it under the rug over here. We don't deny the reality of that. Like what do you like you frame that as you frame that if it was a clapback to somebody who tries to deny the reality of black crime. But it's like, dude, this me you talking to. Like, what the hell was that?
All right, it's two different directions we can go in. I'm just using your words. You stated that at the beginning of the song, he used lyrics that identified black people. You said you used specifically the term carjacking. That you said, I don't think that white people typically use that term when about other white people and whatnot, or it's mainly a black criminal activity. There were other terms that are used as well. Is sucker punch something that black people say? Or is that more of a white term?
I think sucker punch is very general, and I did say that the sucker punch part was it's a reach when people was trying to say that was a black thing. I literally said that because I heard somebody say that, you know, sucker punching, and they was talking about the knockout game, and, you know, in the radicalized Richard Spencer got sucker punched on the sidewalk, you know. So yeah, we know what they were saying. I said that's a reach. So right in the video, literally, like literally, just, you know, when you push play on your stream, you could hear me refute the sucker punch angle and how that was talking about black people. It was the carjacking and the
the only people that rob liquor stores are black people.
No, it was the pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. And okay, well, hold on. Black people do the shit more, but it was put a gun on the owner of the liquor store, and he showed imagery of definitely would appear to be a black person. Like, okay, this is where I think you're sort of taking a weak stance. I'm gonna play a little bit more. I'm gonna tell you why you're taking a weak stance. But hold on.
Okay.
Do you see? Am I taking crazy pills? Do black people not understand that's an issue? Someone making a music video about some people carjacking, robbing a liquor store, hitting the old lady in the head, and so forth. You should not want to defend that ever.
Where did I defend it?
Okay, now this is the point that I think that you're being a little bit disingenuous about.
Wow.
Okay, so let me explain this for you. When I was talking about this, we were having a general topic about the mythical race war thing. That's how this whole conversation how it entirely started. Both you and I stated from the outset that we do not believe that a quote unquote race war could take place, that it's a stupid idea. It's not going to turn out how people would think it would. And of course, that there's this thing that everybody is under called a government that would regulate and shut that stuff down completely. However, we went into this mythical idea of, okay, this race war, different things, blah, 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 and how people would take it and wouldn't take it. And you had your ideas, I have mine. Now we're talking about this Jason Aldean thing. And we're doing that on the backdrop of this whole race war type of ideology. That's how this is how you progressed in the entire conversation from A to B.
On my I think hour and a half opening monologue, I talked about a race war for 60 seconds. Barely. So to say that you're taking everything I'm saying under the guise of it's a race war, to me that's a reach, and it still doesn't deal with the question that how have I defended the criminals?
Okay. Now you have not defended the criminals. That I'm coming out and stating you don't defend criminals, Bernard. You don't. Okay. Black people in general do. Even in these spaces, they do all the time. Okay. And you are well aware that people do that. We got people in the chat.
I know, but why
now?
I know, but hold on. Why lump me in? That's the biggest problem. Out of all the, if far as this space or the Black manosphere or whatever, you know, as far as places where, you know, Black men who don't have that whole racial idolatry view of things, Black men who don't, hold to the victim narrative, Black men who come up and passionately refute all this victimology, this victim Olympics shit that's plaguing Black people and got that's really the true thing that got Black people stuck in place. I'm the goddamn hub of that in this space and provide platform to and provide platform for smaller creators, because you can name any other Black conservative. A lot of them are up on a hill. Some of them have majority white audiences. Either way, most of them, they ain't putting no damn link in the chat to provide smaller content creators with that view to come on and speak. I do that, and hell, you being one of the ones who I do that for, and it's like I'm the hub on the front lines of trying to tear people down from all this raciology victim Olympics bullshit. So to lump me in with them niggas when I'm one of the ones who are who fighting a good fight, it's like, what the fuck? Like that's why I was watching this. Like, what the hell is he doing?
Okay, so you've done the majority of the speaking, and I don't mind listening because I wanted to hear your point of view. But here's a question I have for you. If you can talk about the issues about all of the people in the community doing the F junk and all of that stuff, why do you have an issue with Jason Aldean putting it in a song? If that's your point of view.
Okay, could you show me? We gonna play the tape. I'm not even gonna say.
Hold on,
wait. No, hold on. Wait, time out. Real quick. Let me just say this. I never said I had an issue with it. When you play this, to play with everything I said to the end, I said ain't nothing wrong with it. People got to defend themselves. I did slow walk it, but the mere fact that me stating that he put it in a song, the only thing I did was establish that he was talking about black people. I never said that what he did was some horrid sin or horrible or it was even bad. And when I established that he was talking about black people, I started drawing parallels with the tire shop in my hometown where they said, you know, we don't call the police, we call the ambulance. I drew a parallel with the people in that one store beating that one black dude down for trying to steal their shit. I drew parallels with all that stuff and then related it back to the video and said, like, you know, yes, the police take 30 minutes to show up. People got to defend themselves.
So your view when you state that it was that him making I would say reference to carjacking and robbing a liquor store, that as a dog whistle, that's a positive thing.
I'm sort of neutral to that, but I was cutting through the white noise and saying that white noise, no pun intended. I was cutting through the white noise and saying that
so why is it neutral
talking,
for
hold on,
him,
wait, real quick. Hold on.
It's positive on your side.
Hold on. Let me before I address that, we've led right into why you're taking a weak position. I think it's weak to pretend like he wasn't talking about black people when he said pull a gun on a liquor store owner, and he literally showed a black person climbing over the register, sagging pants. You could tell it's black in the video. He had the gun practically cocked to the side. We know niggas when we see niggas. He was talking about black people. I think it's a weak position to deny it. It's a more strong position to say, yes, he was talking about black people, and he's not wrong. Because I don't think that it's wrong. Now, I'm not going to pick up a flag and champion the cause of white people getting, you know, emboldened to call the shit out. But truth be told, a lot of them do. Truth be told, a lot of them do. And I know.
The original position of what I stated.
I know, but you're making it seem like I'm defending the bullshit. Hold on, wait. Hold on, real quick. Me simply acknowledging and establishing that this man in the first verse of that song, when he's talking about carjacking people and pulling gun on a liquor store owner and showing an image of definitely would appear to be a black man pulling a gun on a liquor store owner, me establishing that he's talking about black people in that first verse does not mean that I think that he's wrong. I just want to establish that. It's almost like you got triggered by me pinning charges on him that you agree with.
You're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that.
Right.
I just asked you straight up, why do you have a neutral position towards him doing it, but when you do it on your own show, you view that as positive?
How do I do it on my own show?
You just stated, you've given me different points of where you stated, hey, you call out the F junk that happens in the community. You ain't with these criminal dudes that want to do this and that and so forth. And, and so forth. And yet, when I just asked you, you can run it back. I said, why are you neutral? Why do you take a neutral position to him doing the same thing? But when it comes to you, you view it as positive.
Okay.
We're just talking about criminals, period.
Right. With him, I'm neutral to it because I talk about things, you know, I'm a black person talking to black people about the shit black people need to do, or the mentalities that black people need to drop from their mindset. What white people
So a
talking
racial
about,
lens.
hold on, wait, real quick. When white people talking about what white, that's his fight. That's their fight. That's their thing that they need to
Racial
do.
lens.
I'm hold on, wait, real quick. Hold on, wait, time
talking
out,
about.
time out.
We
The
should
only
all
reason I
be against
said,
criminality, period.
whoa, hold on. We are against criminality, but if white people are going to, rally to say, look, let's keep it real, let's stop tiptoeing and not, let's stop worrying about sounding like we racist. Let's stop worrying about that, and let's let's go ahead and keep it real. We understand the crime stats. We look at hold on, wait, hold on, time out. Let me finish. If a white guy, if white people start saying, look, I understand, we understand the crime stats, we understand what it is, we understand what these niggas are doing, we know we don't trust these niggas, but we scared to talk about it because we gonna get called racist. No, we need to talk about it. If white people want to take that stance, that's their thing, that's them, do your thing, white people. But only thing I'm saying is that I, as a black man with a platform, I talk to black men about the shit. I talk to black people about the shit.
Okay.
I don't wait. You're missing the point. I have no issue with the song or with white people saying some truthful shit. I only care about something that's true or false, accurate or inaccurate. If white people are doing that, they're doing it. But as far as celebrating it, I'm neutral to their shit. That's their shit. That's their thing.
And that's what I'm saying is in this hierarchy of everything, for you, race comes first before criminality.
Bullshit.
You just spelled it out. Ask people in the chat.
How did I say race comes before criminality?
Because
I just said, hold on.
I haven't even been able to talk.
Yes, you have.
Okay, go ahead.
I said you have been able to talk. Explain to me how I'm saying race comes before criminality. Explain that one.
When I express to you, why are you neutral towards the dude calling it out? Criminal activities.
Neutral is not negative.
But when you call it out, that's a positive thing.
I think black people need to hear it.
What's the difference?
Because I think black people need to hear the shit and keep it real about the shit and understand that a lot of the problems that are plaguing black people in the black community are cultural and not systemic. And that's my motivation. And that's why I do what I do.
And they need to hear it from who? When it came from the white dude, it's neutral. You're neutral towards it. When it comes from you, it's positive. Even when we're just talking about flat out criminality.
No, man, that's okay. Let me explain what I mean by neutral. When I say neutral, I'm not saying it's negative. I'm not saying it's bad. What I'm saying is I'm unbothered by a white guy saying something that's generally true, that black people commit these crimes at a higher percentage rate. If he in a poetic way put that in a song and says that we not gonna stand for that shit, him saying that I am indifferent to it. That's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, if white people seeing those crimes through a racial lens, that's their thing that they need to sort out, that they need to work on. I'm not going to hold their hand and help them see things through a racial lens. I'm trying to get black people to understand that most of our problems are cultural and not systemic. So I'm not going to hold the hand of white people while they try to figure out a way to talk about this and not sound racist. That's their problem. But that's not me. That's not them. I'm against criminals, but when it comes to white people figuring out how to communicate, I can't wipe their ass for them. I'm not in the business of wiping white people's ass. So that's their problem to figure out how are they going to discuss these issues without sounding racist. Now, No, well, we talking about them dealing with black criminals.
The whole song was dealing with criminal activity all together.
You still haven't
And you
established where you haven't. Go ahead.
and if a person was to look at the song in its entirety, it would be very easy to say, what is the song about? The song is about people coming together to stop criminality in small communities. Now, other people can look at the song and then try to push intent on lyrics and all of this other stuff, saying, oh, well, this part he's talking about black people, but it all goes under the hierarchy of we are talking about criminality. Now, it is on
I agree
you
with
to
that.
place the intent of, well, these are white people and they're trying to get together and look through a racial lens. There was no racial lens there. There was just, we are talking about criminals in small communities, and that is unacceptable behavior.
And that's where you're
You're
taking
the
a weak
one that's
position.
you're the
Hold
one
on.
that's parsing it out into any type of white people seeing this in a racial lens and everything, because black people tend, as you stated, to view race in a radical way. That means view it in
But
a lots
I'm
of
not.
different subjects.
I'm not viewing it in a radical way.
Well,
I'll go back.
when I bring
Hold on.
up the thought, bring up the thought then about, well, then why were you neutral towards the guy talking about it? And when you talk about it, it's positive. The only thing that you brought up as a differentiator was race.
That's not a good point, SKC. It's really not. When I said that I'm neutral to him talking about it, what I meant is that I don't care. I'm unbothered by the song. What I'm saying, I'm not race triggered by the song. I acknowledge that he's talking about black people. My position is, so fucking what? Your position is he's not talking about black people. But what he's saying, but in another stream, you'll go on and say, oh yeah, black people do this, and black this and black that, and white people, you're going to affirm my points in another stream. But because the white man stepped up and got on the front lines to call out some nigga shit through a song, like, it's no need to deny that he do it. Acknowledge that, yeah, he did it, and this nigga shit do need to be called out. I think that's a stronger position. So to me, you kind of half stepping. It's like kind of a dodge. It's like you're giving, it's a dodge.
Okay.
But I do want to establish I have no problem with the song. I have no problem with the song. I just was acknowledging he is talking about black people. And we can look at the stats and see black people commit those type of violent crimes and mugging and all of that stuff that he referenced. The robbing a liquor store or carjacking somebody that's still in the car at gunpoint. We can look at the data and see that black people do that more.
So is
a white person making a song calling it out is not a problem. I'm sorry, what's that?
So is the dude doing anything different from you?
No.
Okay, so why were you neutral in your own words, but when doing the same thing,
neutral meaning don't care, unbothered?
Right, but when it comes to your end, when you're talking about it, you don't take a neutral stance towards talking about.
It's hard to do neutral content. I take a position, but other people doing the same type of content in a different way through a song. It's like you're trying to semantic this shit.
I'm not trying to semantic. I'm just trying to understand why. I'm trying to understand.
You're trying to understand why
with a white person that agrees with you. Why would you be neutral towards a white person that agrees with you?
That's a stupid question. Why would I be neutral to a white person that agrees with me? You're pretending as if neutral means against or at odds with in some kind of way.
I'm not saying against. I'm just saying
neutral doesn't mean anything. I listened to the song.
Why wouldn't you view that as you know what? This is the same message that I'm saying. Okay, it's all right with me. I'm just wondering, why do you specifically use the word neutral? Can you answer?
Because I'm not race triggered and don't see everything through a racial lens. So when I saw a white guy putting it in a song that people are committing these crimes, and he talked about some specific crimes that black people commit more, and truth be told, white people and black people are concerned about getting a carjacked or getting mugged or robbed in fucking Detroit or wherever. So him putting that in a song, I didn't feel nothing. Ice water in the veins. It was just like, oh, okay, he did it. Then I listened to other people talking about it, and they was denying that he talking about black people. And I'm like, no, that first verse he was talking about niggas. And so that was just my point. But the way I felt about it,
I'm not talking about.
I understand. Okay, you're asking
an extension of your message
to some degree. Yes, it is.
Isn't Al Dean's song? Wouldn't it be in a way it would fall on the side of, well, yeah, that's underneath my ideology.
I didn't think of it like that, but you make a good point that it does kind of fall under the same thing.
So why would you be neutral towards it?
Because I didn't even look at it like it falls under the same thing. I didn't look at it like that. Because I just didn't look at it.
You went through the lyrics.
I know, but I didn't see it from that. I just didn't look at it from that lens. But I wasn't against it. That's the main thing. That's why I say you're asking it's like this is like a stupid gotcha question from hell. You're asking me why I didn't celebrate and say yeah when I heard it.
I'm not even saying celebrate. I'm just saying, you know what? The guy is talking about criminality. He meant, and from your perspective, you saying he mentions he's obviously mentioning some black people, and I'm like, okay, but you do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why would that say? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any emotion to it. I'm just absolutely neutral towards this. Whether the dude makes this or not, it doesn't even matter. Even though I agree.
Okay.
I'm not saying he was supposed to be triggered. What I'm stating is that
I can't be triggered. I'm saying that
the common denominator. The only common denominator is that he's
Jesus
white.
Christ. You're asking me why I wasn't enthusiastic about the song.
I'm not saying that.
Song. Because I'm obviously I'm not allowed to be triggered. You did a reaction video as if I was triggered, and I clearly wasn't. I tell you that I was neutral or unbothered by it, and then now that's an issue. So the only thing left is that I was supposed to be enthusiastic with my fist in the air. So it's like that's why I'm like,
what I'm saying is very
that's
clear.
why I'm like you're reaching to nowhere.
I'm being very clear. The only reason that you took that you took a neutral position towards it was just as you stated. That, hey, that's a white dude. I don't think that I want to carry any type of flag for no white dude. That's for those white people to figure out what they want to do and such and such. Even when it's talking generally about criminality bad. I think that's just a position that everybody should be able to be like, hey, I don't care about the doggone song, but the message, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. We listen. The chat room is saying it's time to move on, but I will say this. Because a lot of hood conservatives saying he confused. A lot of people confused, and it's you're trying to pin me down on with a wet paper towel. That's how I feel right now. It's like
it's your own words.
It's like you're
your own words.
You're trying to trap me in a wet. You're trying to trap me in a wet paper bag. Listen.
How am I trapping you in a wet paper bag when I'm using your own words?
It wasn't.
The line in the sand is those are those white people over there, and you're not going to carry any water or no flag for no white people, and that's it.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. When it comes to criminality, I support the criminality aspect of it. I support that them, taking a stance against people doing crimes. When it comes to the larger issue or the subtext of him talking about black crime in there, and when it comes to the larger issue of white people not pussyfooting around when it comes to talking about race and my position is that's more or less their thing that they have to figure out. They have to figure out how to broach the subject of race honestly, without and not be concerned about if they get came off as, if they come off as racist, or if they get canceled. I mean, that's their shit to figure out. We don't have that problem. We can say what the fuck we want to say, but that is a problem that white men have. So if they got to figure that out, they got to figure that out. And so I'm like, hey, I see some of them starting their own fight of figuring that out, and so and them doing that, unbothered by it. And so your line of questioning to me is kind of weird, but we'll move on. It's kind of weird, but we move on. It says he is saying BR is filtering the same thing through a racial lens. BR says he isn't, even though his words reflect that he is. How does my words reflect that I am? That I'm the one that's making the point that he was talking about black people in that song, and I'm also the one who's saying I don't care that he was talking about black people in that song, but I do acknowledge he was talking about black people. But SKC's criticism is, but you're not enthusiastic enough about him talking about black people.
That's like, not my criticism at all. That's a straw man. My criticism is that you use terms like dog whistle, and you know that people within these sides of the field will look at that as, oh, that's a dog whistle for something else, white supremacy, ... And we know that.
But I'm the person to get accused of not believing. Hold on, wait, stop. You know that I'm the person to get accused of not even believing in white supremacy, and the way that I don't. I think that racist white people exist because racist people exist because some people are racist. But this whole white supremacy out to get us, and they're not, because I remember when Tariq Nasheed debated Jared Taylor, and Jared Taylor asked, well, if we hate you so much, why won't we just eliminate you? We've had plenty of opportunity to do it. So in the last 300, 400 years, why not just eliminate? And then Tariq Nasheed was like, well, you can't be white supremacist if you don't just got some black people to kick around somewhere. And it's like it's like that is like the most ridiculous position ever, to have that view that white people think and operate like that. And I don't think and operate like that. I don't think white people have that damn view. So to say that, when I said dog whistling, clearly I wasn't saying he was dog whistling to white supremacy. He was dog whistling in the sense that he was clearly talking about black people, but he couldn't say black people. But he said terms and showed imagery that made it clear that he was talking about black people. What I'm saying, if you a true coon, you grab your nuts and say, yeah, he was talking about black people, and so what? It need to be talked about. But you deflecting saying that he wasn't, it's like that's running interference for the cause that you believe in.
No, my idea is that whether he was or not, I think that people should not have anything negative to say about being against criminal activity, which was what the entire song was about from beginning to end.
I agree with you. 100%, but I don't know what that statement had to do with me.
Like I said,
right, let's move on.
Whenever, yeah, go ahead.
Activity associated with your identity in any way. In any way.
Liquor store, you think?
Okay, all right, yeah. Pull a gun on owner of a liquor store. So yeah, he talking about niggas.
On the owner of a liquor store.
What? Hold on. Pull a gun on owner of a liquor store. So yeah, he talking about niggas. Yeah, whoever said carjacking is a specific thing. It's not just stealing the car. Yes, I know how to. I don't know why a little bit car, and they pull up on me and drive off. That's carjacking too. All I know is I don't know of white people doing it. That that carjacking. He's talking about niggas. I could be wrong on that one. I could be wrong on that one. The robbing a liquor store. Pulling a gun on a liquor store owner, and he literally showed in the video a nigga. Let me drop the music. Hold on. All right. Let's make that. Now, he literally showed a nigga. I mean, he all covered up. We can't say we don't know if he's black. We can see the sagging pants. We can see the sagging pants.
Look at this. You can't see the skin color of the person, but you can tell. But the idea is that because you can tell that the person is sagging and showing they behind, that obviously is black activity. Why in the world would you care? If somebody is doing this type of activity, wouldn't you want them to be obliterated off the face of the planet? Wouldn't you want people to want to stand up against such activity? Or is being black being okay with these things happening?
All right. You can't pretend like we don't see the sagging pants. Okay, this is so here's the deal. Here's the deal. Hold on, I'm gonna deal with that too, Sir Tice. Hang in there. I just want to. Damn it! I thought you said something else after that. I thought you had went on again to say why am I defending him? I think you're probably going to say it a little later, but
you can try it. But I don't think I said that.
Well, I mean, you said it earlier. Actually, no, you already said it. I think can we establish the point that I didn't do this stream and react to this video to defend criminals? Can we just agree on that one?
No, your point is not to defend criminals. Your point was to point out which of the black criminals he was talking about.
That's closer to it. That's closer to it.
Okay, so what? What was it then?
My point is, and I went on with this. I even talked about Scott Adams. I'm saying there's a growing number of white people who are not being scared to talk about race and not worried about being canceled. And I think the way that black people bluntly, talk about white people and talk about race, in the way that white people, the woke left end of it, the way that they're operating, I think that has emboldened a lot of white people to say, no, we're going to push back against this shit. And we're going to push back, and so I do think the first verse of the song was a part of, I'm making an early prediction kind of, but a part of a new paradigm where white people are, not scared to go ahead and talk about the shit bold and blunt. So that was more or less my point in establishing that he was talking about black people in that first verse. And the point that I made later on in the tape is that, after I establish other areas where people, defend themselves because the cops take too long to show up, my other point was people have to defend themselves and it's not wrong.
Okay. I'm asking. Concerning criminality, how can criminality be tackled in the United States if the majority population cannot talk about race?
I would say that that's the question you said. How can criminality be tackled in the United States if the majority of the population can't talk about race? I think that definitely stifles it. I think Like for example, the show that I did, and I believe you was watching, and you may have been on the panel when the new mayor of Chicago was when he was at a press conference or something, and they said the mob, and he was like, no, don't call it a mob. It was a large gathering of youth. And it's like, I did a whole show where I, basically went off on him for not being able to call things for not being able to call things what they are. So black people themselves pussyfooting around calling stuff what it is an issue and is a major problem. And so, yeah, by extension, white people pussyfooting around calling things what they are, it is an issue and it is a problem. And people pussyfooting around calling things what they are is the reason why, men can be women and girls and boys can, men can be women and girls and women can be men, and the whole works. And like, cause everybody is in a perpetual state of pussyfooting. So if you're just asking me that question, one, I think you know what my answer is because you watch my show and you've been basically a part of my show, a contributor to my show since 2020. So that's where it gets weird, where it's like, my position on shit. But in order for you to make the video that you did, you got to pretend like you don't know my position and just set up some false argument and depict me like I'm Diet Jason Black or some shit, or Diet Umar. And that's what you was doing on your stream. Like you was responding with statements that I agreed with, but they were going towards me over shit I didn't say. And I think that was, again, like that was, yeah, just keeping it real, man. Okay. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Yeah, I think perhaps I didn't parse out my video on the situation as accurately as I could have, but I do still believe that there is a line of demarcation that comes up so far as with the racial lens viewpoint. And I think the whole point of going through this video and trying to highlight black people instead of just seeing the video as a consistent view against criminality smacks of I'm viewing this with a racial lens.
To me, it smacks of being honest and saying that he was talking about black people right there. And I think it's a much better conversation to acknowledge.
You can't talk about criminality without talking about black people.
Okay, and I think we're having a much more honest conversation if we stop denying that he was talking about black people. I think people on the right or the small town folks need to not pussyfoot. Okay, look, they can do what the fuck they want to do.
Small towns are white,
right? So I think they're taking a weak stance that they've always taken, and trying to tiptoe around the shit where they probably in their private corners will speak honestly about it. But I think them taking a stance on that shit. Damn it, I forgot what I was about to say. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I think it's a situation where you're trying to respond. Okay, I'm my brain all over the place. You said that how can you talk about crime without talking about black people? I do think to some degree, yeah, that's true in this country. That it's hard to talk about the criminal justice system. It's hard to talk about crime. It's hard to talk about the prison population when over, I think, 51% of the inmates are black. So you can't really talk about crime in this country without talking about black people. What I'm doing is just simply acknowledging that, yes, he was talking about black people. What white people are doing, and I think what you are doing, is a sort of, a soft shoe attempt. It's like in one hand you're saying, oh, he wasn't talking about black people, he was just talking about crime. But in another hand you're saying, well, you can't talk about crime without talking about black people. It's like, yeah, so just acknowledge he was talking about black people, and then we can have a much more interesting conversation about, the implications of that, of white people making country songs where they're calling out nigga shit. Like, right. I think that's a better conversation. That's more up your alley, by the way.
Right. And I think the only difference of opinion that we're having is the hierarchy of the two. I think that all people across the entire country should not have any issue with discussing anything about we effing hate criminals. I don't care what color they are, but in certain ways, I think that you have stated that I don't know. We can talk about criminals, black criminals, because we're black, but when it comes to white people and how they deal with that and whatever, I'm just neutral towards it. If that's on them to figure that out and such and such, I'm not gonna carry any water, even though the criminality affects everyone. I think that is a weak position to hold.
Fair enough. And I kind of understand, to reach across the aisle. I kind of understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, you're saying that now we kind of going back to the part of the argument that went in circles. We're kind of going back to the part of the argument that went in circles where
It's like it would be a simple thing. Are you against this type of stuff or not, regardless of who's talking about it? With no caveats or anything.
Okay, no. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. That part can easily be stated. I'm not against it.
Now, all right. So let's move on from you and let's talk about the community as a whole. That way, this could be a great way to segue into the greater, because what my position is that a lot of people within the community, they do have a problem if other people talk about this. They don't care that it's criminal behavior. They just say, no, you're white first, or you're whatever race first. You're not able to talk about this.
And now I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that. And I think my only issue is that you try to depict me as one of those people that do that in your video.
From that, if I didn't parse it out correctly, that's on me.
Yeah, but
so I'm giving us a place where we can kind of move on in the show of the whole
thing
of, you know what, if you look at the general community, the people that you state that are more radically moved on race, when looking at certain things like this, they view it as a white dude talking about some black criminals is racist. They see that as racist first before they see, oh, this is good. Somebody is highlighting criminality, which affects us all.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the people who reacted to this song, other stuff like that, that's how they take it out of the community.
Okay, so you want to now move on to us basically doing what I do damn near every day and call out black hypocrisy. And so we're going to move on from you talking about me doing your reaction video where you talked about me, the person who calls out black hypocrisy, as one of the black. You talked about me like I was one of the black hypocrites. We can move on from that part where, we're not going to talk about me like I'm one of the black hypocrites when I'm one of the ones on the front lines calling out black hypocrisy. We can move on.
If you want to use my exact words, I can put it in a short package for you. What my contention is that so long as black people are talking about these issues, you're fine with it. But if white people talk about it, it's like, there's some like, let me just be neutral.
I don't hold that position. I don't hold.
Let's say if there were, let's say
my position is the position that.
Let's say if I had my channel where I was doing, I don't know, crazy stuff about black criminality, but it was I was a white man ragging in on black people every day, every week. How would you feel about it?
I wouldn't feel that much, but that's not the conversation that I'm not as interested in that. I'm interested in talking to black people about. I'm talking about myself. But if a white person had a channel where what he did, hell, I've actually listened to some channels like that, keeping it real, just to hear what they was doing. But just to hear where they was coming from, and was untriggered and unbothered, and came away understanding and agreeing with many aspects of what they're saying. But so I'm don't care. I mean, I don't care. Yeah, I'm like, again, I'm unbothered by it. You're still reaching to try to make it seem like I'm one of the people that's saying, even if
My position is
somebody,
not that you will be against it.
even if somebody, a black person, breaks in somebody's house, shoots the kids, grapes the grapes the wife, and slits the husband's throat, the family members of these people, they better not mention race. You want to depict it
That's
as if
not my
I'm one of
position.
those,
That is
but
not.
there
I'm
are
stating it
no
outright.
you
That is not my position. My position is that you are neutral about it. It would be simple as this: if a person said, "You know what? There was a black dude that ran around and he raped some little kids, and then there was a white dude that ran around and did the same thing and so forth." My position would be, okay, they're both criminals. I don't
yes,
care who talks about it. I'm not going to take a position of, well, I'm just neutral. No, every single time that's negative every single time.
it's negative. Okay, all right. Now I see the sort of bullshit.
That's the
No,
little
no, no, no,
small
no, 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 no.
demarcation that I'm making.
No. I think it's absolutely 100% horrible every time. I'm talking about the act. I was talking about the act of white people starting to starting to make media where they talk specifically about what black people are doing. In this case, it was somebody did it in a song. Rather, white people doing that, yeah, I was, unbothered by it. I used the word neutral, and then that's the hill that you're going to make the conversation die on because I said neutral. But it's like, yeah, I don't have a
I think it's
problem
a
with it.
significant point.
Neutral meaning I don't have a problem with it. That's what I meant by neutral. I don't have a problem with it. That, like, that's it. But if we talking about raw crime, yes, call out raw crime as it is. But making a stance, making a socio-political stance about crime through a racial lens, white, that's a very specific thing. That's a very specific
Now,
thing, of which I
I'm
have no
willing to cross
problem,
the
of which I have no problem with people doing that. But I know what you're going to do. You're going to take this, and you're probably going to go on your show, and you're probably going to make it seem like I'm one of the people that is that will run
no,
interference for black crime, or that, or if I'm one
nah,
of the people, or if I'm one of the people that, if a white person does it, it's a problem. A black person does it, it's not a problem. I'm the same person that when reviewing that Nick Fuentes conversation and situation, I said the same thing that Nick Fuentes is doing is being called out as racist. All the black women on that Fresh and Fit panel, mostly all of them, had the same exact view when you flip it around. I'm the person that acknowledged that. So if it's not wrong for them to have, those views on race towards black people, and not dating out this how they race, and wanting black babies, and wanting to build the black, wanted to preserve the black race, then it's not wrong for this white man to say preserve the white race. Like, even with the people that are viewed as card carrying white supremacists, I've agreed that what they're saying is no different. So if you can't say black people wrong, you can't say that they wrong. I'm that person. So to try to go down this rabbit hole because I used the word neutral again, that same logic is the same type of reach that birthed your whole damn video, where you basically did a whole damn stream where you basically went at me trying to depict me like I'm one of the people.
wow.
I'm one of the black hypocrites,
Okay.
even though my whole channel
Okay.
is about calling out, black hypocrisy. You're trying to take
Okay.
somebody who on the
At
front lines of
the
calling this shit out and depicting them like something that they're not, and that's some dishonorable shit, man. I'm sorry. I ain't even go there, but I was more pissed
at the
watching this shit
very
than what I'm letting know.
what was my beginning in that entire video? So far as you.
The beginning and the entire, I don't know what you mean.
I stated at the very outset, I have a marginally different opinion than Bernard on this. That's my guy. I disagree though. I didn't try to make you out to be some sort of hypocrite. Why would I say that's my guy if I'm stating that you're a hypocrite?
I think for you to do the video that you did, I mean, one of
That
your
doesn't
guys
make any
did
sense. I think maybe some other people may have like maybe gassed the situation up more than what it
No.
was.
The person.
I disagree. I disagree on your position towards the whole thought of, hey, if we're talking about criminality, I don't care who's talking about it. That's something that we should all on a positive way be against. There should never be a neutral stance on that. And
I didn't
neutral
even use the
means
term
something.
neutral.
Neutral has a meaning. Now, no, we can.
I never used the term neutral in that video. By the way, I've never used the term neutral. Only thing I did was I know. But if you're trying to use something I said today to justify the reason why you said the shit that you said yesterday, then that's trying to cobble together an argument to make it make sense after the fact.
I'm not trying to cobble anything together. I stated from the very beginning that I did not have some sort of this dude Bernard is being a hypocrite. I never stated anything like that.
No, you basically saying
I disagree on your position.
You said that you basically said that I'm one of the race triggers pro-blacks making excuses for the community. Everything that I built my channel speaking against, to my detriment, by the way. I don't think
that I used those words, but
the reason. No.
I'll go back through
watch
the I don't think that I used
whole
any of
video.
those words.
Oh yeah, you did. It's like I got the link in the chat. Anybody want to come up? We can move the conversation forward. But if I play something that if I play it further, talking about black people, we will see that was talking about black people with the opening lines of the song.
So by definition, then black people carjack, black people rob liquor stores, black people hit old ladies in the head. Then I don't think I like black people, sir. I don't like them.
And I got no issue with you saying on stuff like that. Obviously, the black people that do that shit, we don't like them. Obviously, I have a channel where I call out the nigga shit that niggas do. All I did was establish that he was talking about black people, and you took all that as if I got the cape on defending black criminality. Like that's what this stream was about. There's no other way around that.
Places where you can get carjacked. I don't like people that would enjoy robbing liquor stores or hitting old ladies in the head. And I don't think that I would want to be associated or identified with such people.
That sucker punch somebody thing, one could probably reach with that one. It was a knockout game going on. Someone could really reach. And I heard somebody do this, say, yeah, Richard Spencer was sucker punched. That's what he's talking about. No, you can't go that far with it. But the carjacking.
What exactly did black people ever do?
All right. It was some lot more shit that I could respond to, but I think we hashed out quite a bit of it. Big Poke Dog in the building. With the $20 super chat. Do appreciate that. Shout out to you. Shout out to Sir Ty. Look, the link in the chat if somebody want to come. We can move the conversation forward to what the delusional black people, of which I'm not one of them, that takes delusional positions on this whole thing. We can move into that. That's what the link is in the chat for. Sir Tyson building a $2 super chat. I thought it was an echo chamber here. LOL. Right.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Says Bernard does an impossibly great job at what he does, but I don't think he's beyond criticism. SKC isn't wrong, but maybe went a little hard in this stream. Love both. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that comment. I do take issue with somebody doing a stream, taking what I assess to be a contrived narrative to try to depict me as something that I'm not. I take issue with that, especially if it's somebody that I'm cool with that know better. So I did take some issue with that. We joined by Fantastic. We'll get Fantastic in on this one. According to the FBI database, out of 6,800,097 arrests for crimes, 4,729,000. 290,000, I think I said that wrong, were committed by white people, while 1,800,000 were committed by black people. Yeah, see, that's one of the things that black people tend to do. They'll talk about large scale crime. They will ignore the population percentage and they will talk about large scale crime in general. But when you average in the population percentages and you average into the equation, violent crimes,
yeah,
that's where the crux of it is at, to where you can't, spray cologne over the funk of the shit over the funk that's in the black community. You can't spray cologne over it. Like, that's my whole point right there. I have a whole show where I break down shit like that for black people, but I'm somehow I somehow got lumped in with the Umars on that stream. Yeah, but anyway, Sun is Hot Rod in the building says, well, the song can be considered a criminal offense. It will fall under incitement, inciting people from small towns to cause bodily harm to others. Now, I kind of disagree with that statement. I think he was talking about black people, and I think he was trying to embolden white people to be ready to go when some shit go down. But I can't say that he was saying shoot niggas on sight. But he was trying to we need some more Kyle Rittenhouses, and Kyle Rittenhouse didn't go out there and gun down niggas. He went down there, to protect property, and the only people he shot was some white people that charged him. So yeah, and if niggas do the charging, then yeah, niggas get shot in that situation. So no, I do think he was trying to mobilize, but I don't think he was trying to incite people to gun people down. But all right, we are joined by Fantastic. Thank you for coming on up. You have the floor. You have the mic.
Yo, what's up, man? I come in clear?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, shout out to you and SKC, man. Again, every now and again, man, I'm glad this happens. Well, not that way, of course. No offense to be taken, but it just comes to show that, hey, this is not the echo chamber they claim it to be, and brothers do have the way they see things, even though we may agree. But to the point of like the broader topic, like you said, man, black people, bro, this infatuation you have to where this rising up and this race war is ever gonna happen, bro. Take this and listen to anybody that's ever been in the military or understands military tactics, bro. You're never gonna win. Okay, this is you're coon, you defeatist, you scared of the white folks. No, I'm not scared of anything, man. I just know, what I'm saying, tactics. I know statistics. I know logistics. I know, like you said, we start breaking down the willingness of black people that are going to be able to actually adhere to or a military structure needed to win a war is less than 2%. Wait, hold on.
Say that part again.
The black people that would be needed to adhere to a military mindset, okay, in order to win a race war, okay, just even if everything was equal, it's less than 2%. The fact, I said it in the chat, military just customs and military, anything to do with it goes against all of the principles of the black community. Male leadership being the first and foremost, then order and discipline, and ultimately at the end, diplomacy and negotiation. This goes and talks into a lot of things we talk about, not really too much in depth here, but this is why I think, like, you know, and lo and behold, like niggas love clowning the military. Like you, bro, you couldn't find a white person that would make it out of any situation that clown people that serve in the country, because regardless of what you say, you know, all you FBG dudes or whatever, or my bad, or what I'm thinking about the rap niggas. Was it the red, black, and green RBG dudes or whatever, right? You go back to Africans and all these other things, you pro-blacks, bro, you still here. You have the right today to renounce your citizenship, to move to Africa, to move to Jamaica, to move to Brazil, to move anywhere to where, you know, the majority of people going to look like you. But you know what your ass do? You stay right here every day and enjoy the freedoms and the privileges of being an American citizen for a reason, right? So when we start talking about this stuff, man, of, you know, race war and all these different things, bro, again, how many black people go to the range and shoot? Okay. Not just shoot moving targets. You know
Well,
what I'm
let
saying?
me ask you this real quick. When you talk about a race war, do you frame it like some black people frame it as if it's going to be, you know, black civilians versus the U.S. government? Are you framing it like a faction of white people, of white citizens against a faction or of black citizens? Are you framing it
Yes,
like that?
I'm framing it upon everybody that's included, from, you know, the person that's, you know, 400 pounds on their couch, ain't never moved, to the person that served on, you know, special operations teams in the actual military service. So everything created equal. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Everybody.
okay, yeah. When it's framed that way, it's literally no chance. The way that I frame it, and I think this is how it would play out. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the military, in the strongest military on earth, is no way in hell going to let two separate groups militarize on domestic soil. Ain't no way in hell they gonna break that shit up with the quickness. It's no other way around it. So that's why I say a race war is going to look like random, sporadic scuffles and shootings, you know, happening at random. But as far as organized, militarized, and it ain't gonna go down. It's gonna look like random acts of violence. That's what it's gonna look
Yeah,
like.
but that's the thing, though. That's the thing that, you know,
But
I
hold on,
don't
wait,
think
real
that's
quick.
it.
Random acts of violence, and I think only a relatively small percentage of white people is going to participate in it, to the point to where it won't even be 13% versus 68% like that. It won't be like that. It would just be a faction of radicalized black people, which I do think most black people are radicalized in terms of race. Then it'd be a smaller percentage of radicalized white people, but that's still you know, I don't know if it's going to outdo black people in the total numbers. That's why I said the whole idea of a race war, it won't even be a matter of winning. Well, I'm saying this now. I don't think I said it before. It won't even be a matter of winning and losing. It's just who's going to fire off the most random shots before the military intervene and break the shit up. That's more or less what it's going to be.
Yeah,
But go
well,
ahead.
again, yes, again, and I'm talking about it from the realm of the people that talk about the race war, black people that say it.
Yeah.
Because again, I hear way more black people asking for something you're not prepared for, you don't want, and you have no chance of winning. So I'm speaking from those. So you take the most militant group of black people, right? You know, your black supremacists, your new Black Panther parties, or whatever it may be. Hell, your gang members, you know, whoever, right? The warrior class that they brag about all the time, right? And niggas, hey man, they fight for their people, even though they killing more niggas than they even never even pointed a gun at a white person. That's another thing for another day. You know, you take them and you put them up against the same warrior class of, you know, the right race, so on and so forth, bro. You're outnumbered and you're out trained, and this just from a statistical standpoint. Like I said, if you put up the people that have actually had military training, special operations training, okay, people that know how to survive, like without, you know, electricity, without food, without water, and do all these different things, bro. You just don't. You're not equipped. You see what I'm saying? For every one that's super ultra nigga, there's fucking what, at least 6 super ultra white boys. And again, I know you niggas, oh, this is fantastic. Again, man, I'm the nigga that's trying to warn you, bro. Okay, because I have firsthand knowledge and access to it. So that's what I'm saying.
So fantastic. The question that I'm curious about is,
then why do they fantasize about this stuff so much?
Well, it's easy. Again, the black community, whatever you want to call it, has an obsession with racism, and I said that's one of the major things holding us back. This thing of the obsession with racism and white people. Again, man, we've yet to have the answer to how is it that the white man has been focused on the black man for over 400 years, which we still hadn't hit 400 years yet. Or no, but we just hit 400 years in 2019, right? Finally hit 400 years, but I've been hearing 400 years since since kindergarten. But we have this thing to where, again, when you tell people that your creation begins and starts with slavery, you know what I'm saying? That's how you're going to see the world in that lens. And then, the black community, actually having those people, and which rightfully so, people our age, we actually had people that were attached to the civil rights movement. Like I said, my mom started out schools in segregated schools, like legally segregated, not just, they go over here, we go over there. No, like by law, black kids and white kids cannot go to school together. So, we actually had ties to people that had experienced some of those things, especially from the South. But the further and further you move away from it, man, people are pretty much living on the mostly, literature and slave movies and whatever and whatnot, what have you. Which again, those are tragic things. I'm not saying they did not happen. I'm not saying, Emmett Till wasn't a horrible, horrible thing. But what I'm saying is, it's few and far in between to the everyday lives of what black people actually experience, and people focus on the tragedy more so than the triumph. And that's the problem.
All right. Damn it, Hood Conservative. Why the hell you leave? Come back. We joined by Psychopatheus. This should get interesting. But
I know
SKC, you got something.
Conservative wanted me to play this. Yeah.
Okay, so what do we got here? Hold on.
Concerning that whole thing about the I guess the Alabama event, people are calling some sort of watershed event. Going more into that commentary, this is some of the reason why I was looking at it and saying, nah, I think it'll probably be a profitable thing to kind of sit back, see who are having these type of ideas, understanding why they have those type of ideas, and seeing if you align yourself with them.
Like, bro, a lot of us been waiting on shit like that to happen. You feel me? I feel like that shit activated something in me, man. And it feel like if all of us get together right now, bro, we can dominate for sure. I'm talking about that's what it feel like right now. That's the feeling it's giving right now. A feeling that we've been supposed to have. See how that shit got y'all feeling though, bro? I swear to God, bro. I know that shit got the whole world feeling good, bro. The whole black community feeling good as hell, bro. On my soul, bro. The taste, that's just a little taste. Think about if we had it, man. Think about if we grabbed it all, bro. Think about it, you feel me? You heard me? That shit'll feel so good. That's if we do get together, maybe, bro, we can feel good for the rest of our lives, G. We can feel good for the rest of our lives, G. Motherfuckers done got up, G. Motherfucker done stood up and did some shit that we all supposed to be doing every fucking day. I'm talking about fighting back. You hear me? We was always talking about motherfucker hit you, hit them back. Bro, a motherfucker been hitting us for a long time. Bullshit you or not, bro. That lit back felt good as hell. That's what mama said, dude. You remember? Mama said if motherfucker hit you, you hit their ass back.
Yeah, when it comes to fist fights and squabbles, I think black people been hitting back. I think there's other. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, I barely.
This video is not an isolated event.
Oh, I know most. Yeah, I know most black people view it in that sense. It was my position when I did the stream is that, and this is my experience. I acknowledge that I'm in Michigan, and my experience may be different, but than others. But in my experience, when it comes to shit like this, when it comes to a situation where a random white person or a random group of white people done assaulted a black person in some kind of way, yes, people do people do rally up. I said in Michigan, white people be acting like they're scared of black people, be walking to the other side of the street. Like this, is so the fire. If we're talking about fisticuffs, we're talking about fist fights. I think that's been a relatively normal thing. White people beating black people. I mean, black people beating white people ass. That's been a relatively normal thing. So yeah, the shit that he said, in the way black people view it as this, a 400 years in the making fight against the system. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But we are joined back by Hood Servative. Hopefully everything is game, set, match, ready to go. I wanted to catch your stream. I ended up not catching your stream last night because I know you was catching a lot of clips like that, because the black people reaction to the shit was wild. And so I'm gonna go to Hood, and we're gonna go to Psychopatheus. Go ahead, Hood Servative.
I really don't even have a lot of comment on anything so far. I actually, and speaking of black people reaction, SKC, like I said, I sent the clip upstairs to the Big Coon because there was one particular reaction that I want everybody's reaction to now. Now that we got a house, I want to get the panel's take on this one particular guy. Because, like you said, a lot of black folk are feeling very, very high. People are on a real high behind this moment. And I think that whole thing can be boiled down into this one guy that I sent the clip to SKC. Like the average black person, there's a little bit of disagreement, but most black people, really, I think most black people are feeling universally black proud about this whole thing. And niggas really trying to take it to a whole nother level. And so I just want you to play the clip and get your reaction to that clip I said, SKC.
Yeah, I played it Hood Served a little bit earlier while you dropped down, and that's what I'm saying is it's like what I found interesting about all of it is that I can play that video, and then I can go to various segments, even within these spaces, from the highest intellectual down to the most pookiest of them all, and find agreement throughout. And if people don't find that's problematic, that shows you how far back black people really are.
Well,
that was exactly the anchor of my show, though. That same energy that the young Pookie scholar had, the older professional established scholar had. It was just a different tone. Like, he used better words and a better delivery. Like, I think the young Pookie was speaking in an ancestral black tongue that I'd never heard before, but they were saying the exact same shit. They really were. No, I was having fun with that clip. It was hilarious. But they really were on the same vibe. And so when your scholars are on the same note as your Pookies, your criminal class, I don't know if that's exactly the good thing we want it to be.
Yeah, what I heard from a lot of those different segments, I mean, from, like you stated, from the high intellectuals to the even the women corpse and their craziness of what they talk about, and then the Pookies and Ray Rays and all that other stuff, over to the pro-black sector and so forth. All of them were talking about how it made them feel. And typically in the intellectual circuit, they'll laugh at people that come up and talk about stuff about their feelings. Mm-hmm. But I guess this one was different.
Yeah. That's a damn good point. And that's something that I've argued before, that if you break down some of the stuff that the top intellectuals and black academia say, and then you could damn near find some ratchet, somewhere, they're really saying the same thing in different words. And so I definitely 100% agree with that. Go ahead. We got Psychopatheus in the building. Go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic. I need some goddamn water in this damn cup. But all right, go ahead, Psychopatheus.
Peace. What's going on, y'all? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, you're
It's a
good.
slight hiss in the background. I mean, we can work through it, but if you can make it stop, that'd be great. But other than that, go ahead.
Okay, that's probably my fan. Give me 1 second.
All right, cool. Y'all hit the like button, TBE Trucking in the building. He says it's going to be a biological warfare, not a physical one, like the jab you all took. If you're talking about a race war being biological warfare, that
how about now?
That's
still there? That's fine.
It's still there, but we'll fight through it. I can still hear it. But thank you for that super chat. Do appreciate that, TBE Trucking. But that biological warfare claim, that speaks to the fact that, listen, if white people were what black people think they are, then they could have through some type of biological warfare put an end to us, like that simple. Like every time everybody go to the hospital and everybody go to the hospital and get a shot like that, there's a white person putting something in your veins. Like, I mean, so biological, that's why I say it ain't gonna be no race war.
Or they could have put it in the government cheese and the peanut butter, Bernard. Come on, they could have got you up out of here, man. Come on.
Well, the movie they cloned Tyrone and Undercover Brother. They put it in the chicken. But anyway,
and the beer and the mom.
But all right, we joined by Psychopathia. I think you're good.
Yeah. I just find it interesting how something like this happens, and somehow or another, this ends up going back around to black people. I'm failing to understand how this somehow or another is an example of black people's ineptability or whatever the case may be. Like, like black people can't do nothing right around here, I see, because I mean, you got a whole working class man, a co-captain. I mean, and fantastic. You're in the Navy, so you should, be a little bit empathetic to him. I mean, he's a co-captain. I don't know if he had any, previous naval experience or whatever, but he's a co-captain on a boat, and he's checking some white people who was out there trying to flex their privilege, holding up a whole riverboat for about 40 minutes, from what I heard. Because they felt privileged enough to stay docked where they weren't supposed to be. They go to move it, and then they come down there tripping after they've been told numerous times to move their boat, and all they want to do is argue and again flex their privilege. They went down there with that small town energy, right? And then when they tried to flex that small town energy on this Negro, how dare you tell me what I should be doing on your deck, on your dock, excuse me, and tell me that your boat's hung up. I don't care about your boat. I don't care about your dock. Fuck you. Who you? You know what I mean? And then they sit up there and they start jumping them. And then you see a bunch of black people get on code, and they didn't attack each other. Y'all always talking about black on black crime. We out here killing everybody. We out here killing each other, and all these murders and everything else. They went out there. There wasn't no black people fighting each other. They're beating up on some thugs, some pale pookies who lost their mind and was disrespecting a working class black man, and who was just doing his job. Wasn't on the block, wasn't on the corner, wasn't selling nothing, wasn't shooting nobody, wasn't stabbing nobody, wasn't raping nobody, wasn't impregnated 18 women, none of that, doing his job. And then he sat up there and got disrespected, and black people went out there and had his back and handled business out there like they should. Like I said, they came down there with that small town energy, and they got a large town clapback. That's what they got, and that's what they deserved. And I don't understand how this is black people's fault. I'm failing to understand.
Maybe
hold
on. Well, let me say this. I think you missed some necessary steps in the equation. My first initial stream, I said no flags on the play. Nothing wrong with nothing black people did. You could, even me and Hood Conservative was, even Hood Conservatives took the position. Only thing you can talk about is the degree. Hitting the old white lady in here with the chair. Okay, that was a bit much. But as far as jumping on them dudes who jumped on the black man, everybody was in agreement that black people were not wrong at all. They righteously defended a man who was being fucked with and assaulted by a group of people. Everybody agreed with that.
Yeah, man.
We didn't transition far to talking about reactions to it. So that's sort of what this.
Okay, we can address that then. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
well, yeah. I didn't have anything negative to say, bro. And I purposely not really spoke on this because again, this is regular behavior as what you should do. Period. If that's your group of people, again, the race thing. That's why I say black people don't even understand this, bro. You're just doing what you're supposed to do. If you're in Japan and you one black dude fighting a whole bunch of Japanese people, they gonna jump your black ass. Okay, just like what I'm saying, and vice versa. So my thing is, I don't understand how and why this is being celebrated. We making this look like this wonderful fucking moment when again, Psycho, you saying it, you talk about it, but niggas jump niggas every day, B. I promise you, even though it didn't get televised and it wasn't recorded, it was some niggas that was whooping on some niggas that say at the same exact time that the shit was going down in Alabama. It was some niggas getting shot.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's what I'm saying. So if we know that, hold on. So we know that. What's the reason? What's to celebrate here? Again, people, like you said, people did what they were supposed to do, and rightfully so. Again, you jump somebody that looked like me, and so on and so forth, whatnot, what have you. Hey, we gonna have to show your ass. It's not gonna be that easy. Ain't that sweet around here, and it is what it is. But this whole thing, like, bro, niggas just take shit too far, man. It's funny, but niggas like, bro, we just had a nigga give like a clear pookie give like a sermon and a fucking dissertation about the power he feels from niggas whooping on a couple white folks.
Can I address that? I can address that video. I don't see nothing wrong with what he said because I see how this could actually slow down some of the black on black crime that you guys talk about, because I've seen this happen before. I've seen black people rally behind a racially charged instance in the early 90s with the Rodney King thing. And you had a whole ceasefire going on out in California where the Bloods and Crips stopped shooting at each other. And then
Psycho, that is the problem.
I got to echo.
All right,
Psycho, I'm sorry. That is the
Come
problem
on.
in and of itself. I'll explain.
Okay, you could challenge me 1 second. Yeah, but
Psycho, maybe turn the gain down on your mic just a little bit. I don't know what it is, but something. Yeah, your mic game normally. Oh shit! I think that's a lot better. Yeah, a lot better. Better.
Okay, my fault. Okay, yeah. Now, yeah, like I was saying, now in the early 90s, you had the whole ceasefire that went on after the Rodney King situation. And honestly, the only thing that even stopped the whole ceasefire was the 94 crime bill and everybody getting locked up in this, that, and third. But they had the whole ceasefire for about 2 years where people wasn't color banging anymore. Like, it wasn't this whole, like, we see a clip of blood and it's on site or whatever the case may be. And that happened because of the Rodney King riots and everybody getting on racial code. So I can see how something like this can actually unify the quote unquote pookies that y'all love to talk about.
Can I explain why that's a problem?
Go ahead. Well, let me just acknowledge Grown Man Business. I ain't seen him. Hold on, mute up for a second. Yeah, I ain't seen Grown Man Business here in a while. So salute to Grown Man Business. And look, and I like what he said. He said we've been whipping ass down here. This was just caught on video. It was my position in my original video is that stuff like this happens. It just doesn't go as viral because black people only like to exercise that share button when they come out in full victimhood stance. If a white person do something wrong to a black person, we share the shit out of that shit and have created a social media perception that black people just getting their ass whooped left and right by white people and just cowering in fear and all of that shit because we love to do push the victim Olympics share button on any little thing that looked like white oppression of black people. But so I think the only difference is that share button went ham on black people whooping ass versus black people being reprimanded, scolded, or stopped from doing something or attacked or assault. That I think that was really truly one of the only differences. But shout out to Grown Man Business. Go ahead, Hood Service. He's about to explain what Psychopath just said. Go ahead.
Okay, this concept of code and unity is some nigga shit. It's a dark, dirty nigga joke. The idea that black people are on code in this moment, it reverberates something I was just talking about this morning on my show. Right before you went on the air, I had a glorious roast of BGS this morning because he be on some bullshit about this table, and this nigga finally admitted that there is no table because some basic Redbone bitch it says there's no table. Like all of a sudden, because this bitch says there's no table, now he tell me there's no table. But anyway, I was making a point. Was she
basic though, or was she bad?
She was basic. She wasn't even special. Well, like, damn, you lose one non-special bitch, and all of a sudden you want to burn the community down. This nigga BGS amazing. Anyway, the idea of blackness only exists in opposition to whiteness. The idea of this black thing, us black people as a group, our story, our origin story, literally is birthed in opposition to whiteness because of oppression and slavery and all that, right? And so even in BGS clip, he was playing a clip of a guy saying how black men and women only came together to fight oppression or whatever. And so the whole thing of us being on code, the fact that we can only be on code in the alleged face of whiteness is the problem itself. If some white people look like they doing something wrong to black people, yeah, we form up, but we can't be on code to keep our families together. We can't be on code to get these little niggas to read. We can't be on code to put the guns down unless you think white people going to shoot you. Then you got to put the guns down. But you can't be on code otherwise without white people. That is the problem. And this incident just laid that shit bare. There is no code unless white people force you niggas to code up. That's the problem.
Well, as far as I don't know, but black people push education all the time. Like I don't know.
These niggas can't read. That push ain't going nowhere. These niggas can't read.
The only thing I'll add to that, conservative, is this: a lot of the people in those posts and stuff was talking about all this stuff about, oh man, you even heard some of them talking about, man, I love my people, and no, you don't. That's a lie. And that's the whole point of it all, is if you can only come out and say that you, quote unquote, love your people, and you're looking at some of these people, you know they've been banging and doing all this other junk, killing people. Now, come on, man. It's like you need to hate on someone else to declare your love for your own.
For yourself, yep. That's sad.
Can't they say the same thing about you?
How so?
Don't you need to hate black people in order to express your quote unquote? My bad. You said you hate black. You said you don't like black people. Can I address that?
I never said hate.
No, you said you don't like black people. That's what you said.
I said no, I didn't. You didn't. You did.
Bernard Riley just played it. He just played you saying it.
I can tell you exactly what I stated in my own video. I said if people are going to identify black with being criminal, then I don't like that. Do you have a problem with that?
No, you said
identifying black
you don't
with
like
criminality.
What did you say, Bernard?
No, well, just one small correction on what he said. He said if people are going to identify black with criminality, then I don't like black people, if that's what black people are.
Oh, okay. Well, white people do that. White people do that.
Yeah, I mean, he was referring to a video where I
exactly. You talking about the small town. You talking about the small town video, right?
Yeah, and right.
And
I was making the argument that if certain crimes that black people do more, and that he was talking about black people in the first verse of that song.
Right. And hold on. Real quick, Bernard, I got to get on you about one thing. You let him get away with some BS too, because you let him talk you into believing that what you were doing was the same thing that he was doing in that first verse. That's cap. Because what he did in that first verse was turn around and point the finger at a different race of people. You don't get on here pointing the finger at the white man. You don't point the finger at the Asian man. You don't point the finger at Latinos. You point the finger at black people. He didn't get up on that song pointing the finger at no white people at all. So he don't do what you do, Bernard.
Yes, he did.
Time out. In that first verse, the similarities that SKC was getting at is that he was pointing the finger at the same people that I point the finger at. But you are right. You are right.
That's not true. That's not true. Hold on. Can I interject here? Psycho, you being disingenuous, brother. No, he's not. That is more political than it is racial. again, you guys forget most of the riots were not done by quote unquote black people. They were done by liberal people, and they were done by white people that led a whole bunch of and had black people mixed in there. The Kyle Rittenhouse situation, mostly white people. Black Lives Matter rallies, mostly fucking white people. So what are you talking about?
These movements? Well, who's the face of these movements?
Well, it's not. No, you can't. You can't. You're trying to play. You can't do that, Psycho. Psycho, you can't do that, fam. You can't do that.
We gotta keep it a buck.
I'm keeping it a buck, and you're not.
The face of the Democratic Party is black people.
Are you serious right now?
Yes, they are the face. I didn't say
get the fuck out. I'm done, man.
They're not the face. You just mentioned all this
brother.
Black stuff
You have to. How do you see the face? Wait. Listen to what you say. Wait. Whoa. Psycho. Let's. And you know I respect you, fam. But come on, are we seriously saying that black people are the face of the Democratic Party, fam?
Yes.
Seriously?
Listen, when I say face, I'm talking about the face. I'm not talking about that, like, they get the most out of
Bro,
the
you're not even the face. First off, so again, brother, so hold on, let me enter. So again, no, you're not. Let me tell you, you know who the face of the Democratic Party is right now? LGBT community, okay? And specifically the T's, okay? And hold on, brother, let me finish before you hop in there. The face of the Democratic Party, again, LGBT community, specifically the T's, and then illegal immigrants, brother, that black people are complaining about, that are getting more resources, that are getting the ability to be police officers, that are getting more rights than black people. So, brother, can we try this again?
What you're telling me is who gets the most out of the Democratic Party. I wouldn't argue.
I'm telling you who the Democratic Party is championing over black people.
Let me finish. What you just broke down was who gets the most out of the Democratic Party. I wouldn't deny that. But let's not get it twisted. Black people was the face of the Democratic Party when Obama got elected, but the gays got the most out of it, right? Because once he got in office, he did everything in his power to push the gays forward, not black people. But every time he ran, they made black people the face. They made Trayvon Martin the face. They made Black Lives Matter the face. And watch next year. Next year, something's going to pop off. And it's going to be something black, and it's going to be the main. George Floyd was the case on the other joint, the other election. It's always black. Right. Black people is the face of the Democratic Party.
Time out. The term face is a subjective term, and we can get into semantics. I think it's safe to say that black people have a important role in the party. That's the reason that they say things like, if you don't vote for us, you ain't black. And so yeah, black people got an important role in the Democratic Party. Democrats can't win without black people. So they are hell bent on keeping black people on that plantation. So
that doesn't make you the face, though, Bernard.
I know. It makes you an important figure, but I don't know. You gotta define what the face is. But and then y'all can real quick. I want to respond to this. He says, see, this is what I was talking about. Bernard, SKC says that this is the exact thing I was talking about. Radical black people looking at the song as inherently racist. I understand that that's what you were talking about, and I understand that applies to a lot of people. It didn't apply to me. And most of what you said didn't apply. Yeah, exactly. Everything that you said applied to people like Psychopathias, like Jason Black, like Umar, Tariq Nasheed. You didn't review them. You reviewed me, and that was still fucked up to me. But anyway, correct. And I didn't take those positions.
Right. What I wanted to go in is Psychopathies. You stated that I tried to do what in the video with Bernard? You were just stating.
I stated what I said. I said you tried to make it seem like Bernard was doing the same thing that old boy was doing in that song, and I said no. Outside of talking about black criminality, yeah, that's part of the same, but they wasn't doing the same thing because what he was doing was finger pointing. Bernard wasn't finger pointing. Bernard looked at his own community and calling out the stuff that he don't like in his own community. That dude didn't do that. That's not what he did.
Hold on, wait. One thing you gotta know, Psychopathies. I don't know if you heard the whole song, and I said this in my original video. I think the first verse was about black people. The rest of the song was about Antifa, BLM rallies and rioting and all of that shit that was going on. It was general and it was neutral. Just disorderly, unlawful.
Okay. Political, like I said, political. It was political.
Yes, that's the word. And I said that in my stream. It was like it was an attack or a shot against the political radicalized left.
The whole verse dedicated to black people.
But the verse, it was yeah, I think it was definitely two lines specifically in that first verse. He was talking about black people. Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. So wait, so this is the question though, Psycho. Did he lie?
Did he lie about what?
Did he lie about what he described in the verse?
Yeah, he did lie because
you a damn lie. Now you a damn lie.
He told people don't try in a small town, and it just happened in a small town.
Well,
so,
but come on again. Well, no,
that song aged like old milk, dog. That song aged horrible. That song aged horrible. That song had like a 2-week shelf life. Let's keep it a buck. No, people
it was not a lot longer than that. But
people are mocking that song now.
Listen, brother.
People are laughing
I'm not even trying to protect the song, but the fact of the matter that you're using this song as the basis of like, brother, you literally made. I guess I don't know where you find this meme for. It's kind of funny. I guess the whole chair thing. Niggas is. I wish there was a fucking folding chair stock because that shit'd be booming right now. I wish there really was, but because of niggas, and who wouldn't benefit from it, niggas. But anyway, that's another thing for another day. Listen, man. The whole thing, that I'm saying is that black people use stuff like this as an excuse, bro, to excuse like the truth. Like when you talk about, like y'all say it all the time, right? The biggest rapists and the biggest child molesters are who? White people. White people don't deny that. Don't deny it. They can't deny it. They don't deny it. I've never seen one deny it.
Yeah, they do. They try to paint us in the face of it. They try to
no,
paint
they
us
don't.
in the face of it.
No, they don't, bro. Black women do that. No, see, who does that? Black women does that. Black women are the people that lie on black men and say predator for every other thing. Black women are the people that say black men are out here abusing women when the highest abuse of women or black women or other black women
going after Bill Cosby. That's not white women going after Bill Cosby. Those black women going after Bill Cosby.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, black women started it.
No, that's white women.
The pound cake conversation was the beginning of black. The pound cake conversation was the beginning of the downfall of fucking Bill Cosby. And what if I remember right? Hold on, brother. The case that was used wasn't she light skinned or mixed or something? What was she? She was something, right? She wasn't a white woman.
That was 1 out of like 30.
Oh, but that was the case, brother. That was used to put him in prison.
If you gotta pull 1 out of 30,
that was the case, brother. That was the case that was used, brother. You do have to use that. That was a case that was used to illegally put him in prison. So thank you again for proving my point. What are you talking about? Again, so brother, like I said,
he got a whole new case about to happen right now that has nothing to do with black women.
What the hell? What? That's irrelevant, brother. He did time for a black woman,
and they trying to put him back in again. They are making him the face.
Okay, well, brother, I highly we ain't talking about what could happen, bro. We talking about what did happen. Okay. Furthermore, again, this is what I'm gonna say. This try this shit in a small town song, brother, that you talking about now, bro. I can name you 100 black songs that do the same shit. Okay. Then niggas literally made a list. Fuck them other niggas. I'm down for my niggas. Tear the club up. What? Nuck if you buck. What shit? 3 6 Mafia, any type of Atlanta music, any type of Texas music, down south music. I know you up north, nigga. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. What, Jersey? I think Jersey, right? Or I think whatever. Jersey. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. We been on that. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't from my hood, shout out to motherfucking Project Pat, nigga. Again, bro, come on. Black people been talking the same shit for over 30 years at this point, dog. So why we gonna make one white dude make the same type of song? What's it matter?
Listen, bro. I'm not tripping on the song. I ain't make one stream or video talking about this song. I really don't care about the song. My whole thing is the denial of the song being racist. I don't care if they make racist songs. They already racist in my eyes, so they just telling the world how they feel. I'm kind of glad that they're doing it. But and that's the part that I'm pushing back on, the idea that it's not racist. I don't care that they making racist songs, though. I'm not tripping over it. Making racist songs. I like overt racist. I prefer my racist to be overt.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, so that's how I understand. Like why you complain about it, use that as your basis for like your argument. The whole small town shit or whatever. The verses that you say dedicate to black people. Cool, fine, all right, whatever. The rest of the 80% of the song is dedicated to a political ideology. If you were to name
oh shit, my bad. I didn't know that was going to be playing. I was just bringing it up for when SKC was ready. Y'all go ahead. Y'all continue talking.
But no, that's what I was saying, man. This whole thing, man, is that's what I'm talking about, bro. This whole thing of this concept as to where black people have to come together in order to fight against after we have this fight with the white man. brother, that's a failing fucking thing. Because if you gonna you know, shoot, kill, beat up, and everything else against black people for 365 days a year, but you know, a big, you know what I'm saying, race fight happens, and now we gonna put the guns down for what how long? 5 days, 10 days, a month, 30 days, and then go back to the same bullshit. Because last time I checked, Psycho, like you said, brother, I remember, you know, Bloods and Crips always bring that up. Man, there was a truce over Rodney King. There was a truce over Rodney King. Well, what the fuck is it now? Hell, and not even that. It's not even just not a Blood and Crip lack of a truce anymore. Hell, it's Bloods killing Bloods and Crips killing Crips, man. You the same flag, but you from a different street corner. Hell, now you still banging on niggas. That again, man, that's what I'm saying, man.
That happened. Yeah, that happened after the after the truce and everything else, and then the '94 crime bill came in, and people started getting locked up left and right.
And 2024 is gonna be even better, bro. You better be warning. You better be talking to these young brothers, Psycho. I know you got, you know, you go for the, hey, and shout out to you, man. You know, it's respect, but you better be talking to these young brothers, man, because this 2024 crime bill is gonna be 94 on steroids, bro. It's gonna be crazy. So you better tell these young niggas to get right.
All right. Let's move on a little bit. SKC, you had a screen share. Then we're gonna go to Sir Tyson that way. Before all that, Captain Cisco in the building says, "Y'all need to stop worrying about these white people and focus on defeating alien supremacy." Mr. Fantastic, how are we gonna stop these aliens? Captain Cisco is the resident alien, expert. He brings up aliens every show. I'm just for him. I'm gonna make his day. I'm gonna do a whole alien show just for him one of these days. I said I'd never do it. I think it might happen. I think Captain Cisco gonna get me to do it. Thank you for putting 5 on it. All right, SKC, set up what you got. Oh shit! Damn, Psycho, that's crazy.
Kudos to you on that one, Psycho.
Yeah,
what you got right here?
You don't even need to play the music. I don't want you to get hit with anything. But it's like a whole bunch of black people chilling out. Doing their thing to the song. I guess they're racist too.
What, they just singing a song and just having a good time?
Yep.
Yeah, it's in response to the Alabama thing. So that's so niggas are pretty much what you call it? They've taken over the song now because of the whole Alabama situation. So now niggas is doing things to it.
So sensitive.
Yeah, they mocked it.
No. This was before the Alabama thing. These were black dudes in the country that were enjoying the song, stating that it was not racist.
Right. So just because some black people say it's not racist, that means it's not racist?
No, how about this?
I don't know.
Hold on, SKC. I think
maybe they don't feel the same way as you do.
There's some white. I could. Every black person.
Maybe some dudes that actually live in the places that you're talking about don't feel the way that you do.
Right.
But
every black person you can show me that tells me that it's not racist, I can show you a white person that says it is.
That's
fine. So what's your point?
Well, can I go?
What's your point?
We're going down the rabbit.
All right.
Can I go?
Yeah, and we are. Yeah, it is kind of rabbit holey. So we'll pass it. But one thing I do want to say, as far as I remember the episode of Rock when he was dealing with the drug dealer and he wanted to run that run that drug dealer out of there. He like collared him up in his house and everything. Like, so there is it ain't nothing wrong. And I made this point. It's nothing wrong with people making a strong point about dealing with how they're going to deal with crime. Like I can see black people making a similar song and use the same language and use, carjacking and somebody robbing a liquor store and all of this and all that, and don't try that shit over here in my neighborhood. We ain't going for that. Like, we're going to actually take a stand against that kind of shit. Like, I can see black people doing that and it would be okay, and everybody would know and understand that, okay, they clearly talking about black people. My view on the song is I don't think the song is racist, but I do think he was talking about black people, but that don't make it racist if he was describing some shit that niggas do and saying, don't bring that shit over here.
Bernard, it already happened.
Cass is in the question to the panel that I like to ask people nowadays because I'm very confused. What is racist to y'all? What can you give me an example of racism? What is racist in 2023?
Okay,
black people.
I'll gladly answer your question if you let me go before we go down this tangent. I promise.
Go ahead, Sir Tice.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen, including you, my brother Psycho. Even though we haven't talked in a while, even though we disagree on 90% of the things except for hip hop, shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. All right, question for you, Mr. Psycho: is Elizabeth, New Jersey, a small town?
I wouldn't call it small. No, it's not. It's not small. It's kind of big.
And by the way, for the audience, I'm asking him about various small towns in New Jersey, or I'm sorry, towns in New Jersey. What about Patterson? Is it a small town?
No, Patterson is small. No.
Okay, all right. Jersey City, is that a small town?
No, that's not a small town.
All right. Check this out. I noticed in your avatar you had a chair, and try that in a small town. This is the arrogance on a lot of you East Coasters. You all think that everything outside of New York and Chicago is flyover country and everything's a small town. Mobile, Alabama has more population than Elizabeth and Patterson, sir. And it's only less than Jersey by 100,000. So Mobile is not a small town. So this is just taking a popular narrative out there about a song y'all otherwise would have never even given 3 fucks about had the media not gassed y'all about it. Y'all wouldn't even been using this or whatever in y'all speeches. Tell me, am I lying, everyone? And by the way, in the audience, hold on, people.
I absolutely agree, Sir Tice.
Thank you. Now, I'm glad you spoke up. What is racism? Racism is using the act of prejudice and using something against someone. You can be prejudiced. For example, I may not have to like Asians, but if I'm using my power, my so-called, I know black people don't have power, but my power of approving loans against an Asian, that is being racist. If I'm denying access that they legally afforded, that is my definition of racism. Prejudice, I think we all have them. So there we go. To Mr. Coon. Now, if I was Bernard, shout out to Bernie, I would feel some kind of way about your show yesterday too. The way you did kind of paint him, and listen, Bernard can defend himself, but it was painted like he was someone, because I was listening, I'm like, wait a minute, is he going to say something about me? Shout out, you gave me a shout out and all this or whatever, you agreed with my points, but it was like you're painting him like he was one of these irrational B1s. Lastly, and then I'll go and
thank you.
Okay.
I'm glad. I knew I wasn't crazy, but all right.
Let me say this. To that, I said this, Bernie, what was the show? Monday or Tuesday? I think it was Monday, whatever day it was. I said, and Psycho, you were so ready to go off on people about the issue when we weren't talking about that. We were talking about the aftermath. And what I said on Monday or Tuesday show was, I have no problem with what happened to those people. I think they were on some entitled bullshit or whatever, and they got what they deserve. I said, but motherfuckers acting like it's a goddamn victory lap. This is crazy. And day 4, we got dudes. I mean, that video that Hood had just posted or whatever, that dude, oh man, we coming together. We come on, man. We can only come together against some weak ass white motherfuckers. Now, if those were some Navy SEAL type motherfuckers, and then they mop the floor with all of them, then all y'all will be screaming about, man, they just did some racist shit. They turned a fist fight into, they didn't have to do that. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Everything I just said went to hell or whatever. So
what? Just the sight of RBR just throws you off the whole course of what you was trying to say.
Somebody had to
I'm about to get out of here.
All right, hold on, wait, no, I want Psycho to go. Hold on, I drop him down. This is why I brought him up, because I wanted to see if he was going to say something crazy to the point to where Psychopathia would not agree with him.
I already don't agree with him. He's about to come here talking about 4 million years of African civilization, silly ass nonsense. Google checks. He think he's old. I'm not about to deal with all that nonsense.
All right. Go ahead, sir. Hold on, real quick. Eric Bird in the building says, fantastic has a point, i.e. Nipsey Hussle. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Go ahead.
I'll wrap it up. So SKC, any thoughts of what I said? And again, we brothers, but it did come up like that. And Psycho, that whole small town thing, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I get it. This is a victory.
Now the small town thing, that's just a meme. Like that's just a meme. I know Montgomery is not a small town. That's why I said earlier. If you go back and rewind, I said they came into Montgomery with that small town energy and got a large town clapback. That's what I said verbatim. So yeah,
you still got that Olympic torch flaming, waving out, for this.
Olympic torch. What do you mean? What Olympic torch?
You know what it is. Like the Olympic torch, y'all cheering this, whatever.
I've been trolling. I've been trolling the last 3 days. YouTube won't let me troll, so I got to go other places to troll. Twitter is off the chain right now. So I've been trolling.
I accept the criticism, Sir Tice.
Salute, bro.
I did just react to it live because I didn't I wasn't covering or listening to all of that stuff over the weekend and everything. I was doing some other stuff, but I am going to hold that there is a line of demarcation in that whether and maybe we can debate this on another time or something, but I really don't. I don't think that
I don't
Bernard
debate
would
people. I don't.
that.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
don't think that you would I don't think that you would disagree that when it comes down the line, that on some issues, it's like, okay, if white people say this or some other racist people say this, even though they may be right, yeah, I think your position is yeah, but I'm not gonna fly the flag for whatever they got to say.
Because I do think we should fly our own flag. We can talk about the fuck shit that niggas do, and we could just be black men talking about what's wrong with black people and what black people need to be doing, and fly our own flag. We don't need their flag. We can lead our own charge about what this problem is. But if they over there doing it too, cool. But I don't want to get behind them, and they're doing it. I think that we can speak and we can stand up on our own 2 feet with our chest out as black men and call the shit as we see it, regardless of what the fuck they're talking about. So that's more or less where I'm at.
And that's the only point that I would say that is the major point in which we disagree. I think that when it comes to something as serious as criminal activity, that it should be pretty much all hands on deck. I don't care who's talking about it. It doesn't have to be this idea of falling behind someone, but no, if that is in agreement with what I'm stating, then then I'm gonna support that message as well.
And that's fine. I get that and I understand that. The thing that I was pointing out, more so than him calling out criminality, I was just pointing out that he's specifically talking about black criminals in that first verse, and I was just talking about just the nature, the idea, the concept that that white people are now starting to not really pussyfoot around the shit to the point to where they're making country songs about it. Scott Adams came out. We're about to see more white people just being honest and saying what they really think. They've been sort of emboldened to do that. And I was talking about them calling out black people on their bullshit. And I'm like, hey, on my channel, I call out black people on their bullshit. White people doing it, I'm like, hey, is what it is. I don't care. That term that you tried to pin me down on, which I thought was like a wet piece of a wet napkin you tried to hold me down with, that I said I'm neutral to them doing it as if that was a problem. But I'm talking about them calling out black people on their bullshit. But if we're talking about specifically criminality and people committing crimes, then I don't. Anybody could do that. Yeah, I mean, obviously. So that's where I don't get it. It's not that much of a debate unless you try to spin it as if I have a problem with white people bringing up black crime, which I don't have a problem with it.
Why they don't talk about white crime? Black crime.
Yeah, they do.
It's called black on black crime, so that means it's not affecting them. So why they ain't talking about white crime?
It actually is affecting them, but more black people kill white people than white people kill black people.
Black people, it's called black on black crime. Everybody talks about Chicago.
Yeah, but again, I'm gonna say it again. They're
not talking about black people killing white people in Chicago, in Baltimore, in Houston.
Well, again, they're still affected by it, bro. It's still like, again, criminality is criminality, and everybody's affected, fam. So again,
our community is affected by it, not theirs. They use our
I'm
community.
gonna say it again. More black people kill white people. More black people kill white people than white people that kill black people, even though there's 6 times more white people than black people.
How many more white people kill white people than black people kill white people?
Well, when 50% of the
why they talking about white on white crime?
It shouldn't matter. Crime is crime.
They don't. Show me where they talk about it.
And people should be against crime, period.
Show me the channels that's dedicated, white person channel that's dedicated talking about white on white crime. Where is it?
I don't listen for that content, but I'm sure I can find
it.
You
can't show me. Please show me.
Brother.
Show me.
You ask it, put it. Just like you had no idea who the fuck Jason Aldean was before the people told you who he was. I don't know who the hell these channels are right now, but I can guarantee you.
Right. Hold on, I got you. Hold on. I can't name a channel. I can't name a channel, but I do know there was a movie that just came out about child trafficking or some sort. What is it called? Come on, I know y'all know that.
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
Okay, Sound of Freedom. And there's a lot of YouTube channels that be talking about that whole thing. When they talk about people doing stuff to children like that, they are talking about white people. Now, Psycho, you could probably make a point that they don't frame white crime as white on white crime, or they don't put a white in front of it. It's just called crime. Exactly. But it is a specific demarcation where, you know, black crime is actually talked about as a thing. It's black crime, black on black crime. But I think there's a reason. There's reasons for that. But go ahead.
I can show you black channels that dedicated to just talking about black on black crime. That's it. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about nothing else. But I would just like to see the white counterpart that actually does that as well.
Why are you caping for that shit? I don't want nothing to do with those maggots.
What do you mean?
I don't want shit to do with anybody that wants to kill somebody that looks like them over some bullshit. Why are you caping for that shit?
What are you talking about? I'm asking y'all to show me the white counterpart. You just strong man what I just said. I'm not even talking about that.
I'll tell you this, Psychopathist, on the whole crime thing of I think why it would be appropriate for other groups to call out and to talk about the criminal issues that happen even within quote unquote black communities and so forth is because black people aren't and won't do anything about it. Right now in DC, you have black people in politics calling for the National Guard because you can't do anything effective about it.
It was dead air. I must have missed something. Say that part again. You saying that? Say it again. I want to hear what you said. I was reading.
You need other people talking about those issues because black people can't handle the issues. They can't do anything about it.
Everybody talks about
they're impotent. They're impotent in being able to handle the crime problem. They can't do it.
Can you or nobody in this panel or anybody in this chat or anybody listening to the playback in the comment section, can nobody name me a time in history where black people wasn't called out for criminality? Name me the era. I want to know the era.
It doesn't matter.
I want to know.
You can't do anything about it.
What does that matter?
You can't do anything about it. You can't.
What does that matter?
You can't stop it. It doesn't even matter.
That's BS. He just said that.
Cool. Wait.
He just said that black people need to be called out this, that, and third because nobody's doing anything else.
Why are you so sensitive?
That's all black people have ever done throughout the course of
history.
But I can prove it.
Okay, cool. But so Psycho, let me hop in. I ain't said shit in a minute. So Psycho, this is the problem, man, and this is why I say we never move forward because we're always looking backwards. So let's put everything the past or whatever. Why are we not doing something about it now?
What do you mean? People always doing something about it. What are you talking about? I mean,
no, that can't.
This idea that nobody's doing nothing about it, I don't understand. Like, I don't know where y'all.
Okay, well, I can explain it. I can explain it to you very easily. Again, still niggas still support not snitching. Niggas still support, drug dealing, killing, and drilling, and all that other shit or whatever. Again, this whole thing, and this is what I wanted to say. I meant to say, I'm glad we're back around to it now. You keep claiming that white people identify black people with criminality. No, the truth is black people identify blackness with criminality, and that's the major issue and problem we have. You're not a nigga, you're not a real nigga, so you don't matter. You're not in the streets, so you don't matter. You ain't jumped off the porch, you ain't been to jail, you ain't been to prison, you ain't sold no dope, you ain't got no bodies, so you a lesser nigga than the nigga that's out here in the field, you know what I'm saying, doing all this shit and so on and so forth. So again, brother, that's what I'm saying. When the major issue and problem as to why the white people even have the chance to say what they say is because, again, this is the branding that black people have put amongst ourselves, unfortunately.
Everybody brands themselves behind criminality. Everybody's came up throughout course of criminality. Yes.
No, brother.
Everybody came up through criminality, and everybody's
came up, but not branded. Again, like I said, I do this. Like I said, the Kennedy family was a criminal family. The Bush family is a criminal family. They don't brand themselves on that criminality, though. They brand themselves through the total opposite.
Okay.
So I just proved your point.
What's the lottery? What's the lottery?
What do you mean? What's the lottery? The lot or just racketeering, just number running, just complicated number running.
Number running that they made legal. That they made legal and glorified.
Yeah, they made legal. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, what's NASCAR? What's NASCAR?
Oh yeah, drag racing from the bootleggers racing.
Bootlegging, right? Exactly. Illegal activity, right? That they glorified today, right? Made a whole sport out of it, right?
Okay, but hold on, brother. You're showing a niche thing. NASCAR is the least. NASCAR is like the least.
I'm giving you examples of how they glorify.
You're giving me examples, but I can give you better examples that were always legal. Football was always legal. Basketball was always legal. Hockey was always legal. So you're using something that's, you know what I'm saying, a very, very small niche of something to try and make your point, which you are making some points, but yet again, still I've disproven it when you talk about, hey, yeah, these high profile political families had criminal backgrounds, but people don't know that unless they go and do the research for it. Their branding is our political families. You know what I'm saying? And again, like you say, once something was alcohol was illegal at one point in time, right? But we know now alcohol is legal, so it was.
So was weed.
So that's what I'm saying.
A lot of black people got called criminals for smoking it, but now today it's legal everywhere. So are those black people still criminals that were smoking it before?
Man,
are they still criminals today?
Done with everybody. We literally
he's looking to the past, brother. We talking about now forward,
running around doing crimes and then posting it online.
Now you being very specific. Now you moved to go criminality, and now you being very specific with it.
SKC, you bring up something that's why I wanted to come back up and make this point. When you mentioned the fact that black folk can't solve this problem on our own, we don't have the internal, we have the language for it because we talk about killing people all the time. But you guys remember like in the 90s when they had the whole Stop the Violence wave and they had songs coming out, it was self-destruction. There was a West Coast version. There was a West Coast version of self-destruction.
You talk about we all the same gang. That was during that.
Right.
I just mentioned that was after the Rodney King joints with the whole,
here's the thing. Here's what's significant and what's a huge difference. Here's what's a huge difference though. And that don't try that in a small town song. It is it's an implicit threat. Black folk beg black children not to commit crime instead of threatening them with extreme violence if they commit crime, that is the ethos of America, basically. That's what, hanging people and all that really boils down to. We will commit extreme violence against people who attack society. Black America isn't ready for that conversation yet because in the black mind, and frankly, in a practical matter, it will be a lot of white people who are the law, basically, having to commit extreme violence against black folk, and black folk don't want to swallow that pill. But that is the pill that you got to swallow. You can't beg criminals to put the guns down. All that self-destruction shit from the 90s was the most impotent bullshit you ever seen. Either you willing to fight criminals or you let them run you over. There is no in between.
Crime went down. Check the numbers. Crime went down after all that self-destruction stuff.
Crime went down because of the law, and it's been headed back up. it's been headed back up until 2019 and the lockdown.
Yeah,
And then
Psycho? I'm talking about around time he was talking about the time frame. He was talking about crime went down after that self-destruction stuff.
Why is that, Psycho? Why is that, Psycho? Why did it go down in the early to mid 90s? Why did crime go down? Take a while, because you already touched on it earlier. Can we talk about the 3 strikes law? Can we talk about
crime bill?
Risk? I mean, come on, man.
Because of over policing.
It was going down before 94. It was going down before 94, so it kept going down after 94. The highest it was during that time frame was 88, and after that it was going down consistently for the longest time, till like Fantastic said recently.
Give me a moment.
Now you got an uptick like around, I think it was like around 2016, 2017.
Yeah,
so
2016.
Yeah, that's when you had like an uptick, but you had a consistent downgrade from 88 all the way up to that point.
Why was it going down, Psychopathus?
The crack era was going away. I mean, the crack era is what made all those murders go up in the 80s. I mean, it was territorial beefs mainly over money.
A city
the gang started getting involved. The gangs, mainly this is happening out in LA, where a lot of this stuff was going on. That's when the gang activities, they got caught up in the drug game, and yeah, there was a lot of territory beefs over money. And crack game was crazy in the 80s, and that's what made it go up where it was. That's got all the drive-bys, the Uzis, and all that.
Okay, New York City.
So just as a quick question, I'm just wondering, Psychopathus, you stated that that was the cause of all of that, but then I've also heard you state on other occasions that a lot of other communities, particularly white people, are on meth and all these other different drugs and so forth. And with a higher population, with more people being engaged in those activities, then why isn't the death and crime as high as it was during the 80s?
Because same reason why people bring up the black on black crime thing, but they don't want to bring up white on white crime because they talk per capita, right? Now you just mentioned they're the larger population, so their crime activities is going to affect them the least, opposed to us.
The per capita argument doesn't. The per capita argument doesn't suit with murders because we can see the bodies.
We talk
murder for murder. So why isn't the murder rate as high as it was during the crack era? Since you have way more white people that are on meth and all this other stuff now.
You're missing my point. It's still a smaller portion of their community that was on drugs, opposed to it was a larger portion of our community that was on drugs. You understand what I'm saying? I'm playing the per capita games. I'm telling you, got to go off percentages. The drugs affected our community more because we're a smaller percentage.
But it's more of them. Like, say if you stated, I don't know, 10% of your population was
kind of like affirmative action.
No, but hold on. Let me hop in real quick. Psycho, let me just hop in real quick. Now, SKC, he's right on that. Even when you break it down to like hell, I would say you had upwards close to 50% of the black communities being affected by, you know what I'm saying, crack cocaine in the crack era. So it was really, really high. Sort of kind of like what the heroin crisis back in Harlem in the 70s and stuff, like that movement. So yeah, so you got to think about it. Even still, when you compare, from that rate, the percentage of those people, because they didn't have access to it. It wasn't in their communities, and most of the white people that did do it, they had to go to those black communities to get it, and that was a very, very small percentage. So he is right about that one, bro.
All right, Christian. Go ahead.
I made the same argument about affirmative action. Affirmative action, black people benefit the least, white women benefit the most. But white women are going to be affected the least by getting taken away, and black people are going to be affected the most. So it's a weird dynamic there, but that's what's going on.
Hold on a second. You just said something. How, if we all know that it benefited white women the most, we all know that. How are black people going to be impacted by the most for academic affirmative action for many of those seats black people didn't even qualify for? So tell me how black people going to not benefit from that?
I said they're going to be affected the most out of it. They're going to be affected the most out of the affirmative action being knocked down.
Psycho, they weren't, okay. When they repealed that, it was about academic admissions for qualified Asians. not qualified Black people. Black people have, if actually I showed a chart or what have you, that if a Black person has all the numbers or whatever, they have a 50% chance to get into Harvard more than an Asian or a white person. But help me understand how Black people are going to be impacted by this when we didn't necessarily benefit from affirmative action in the first place.
Like I said, we benefited the least, but we're going to be affected the most because it's a numbers game.
That makes no sense. We weren't benefiting. Okay, we weren't benefiting in the first place. Is what I'm getting at. So if you weren't,
it was some small benefits there, but we can't act like nobody benefited from affirmative action. I mean, the person who smacked down affirmative action, and Clarence Thomas benefited from affirmative action.
Sir, it wasn't all
say nobody benefited.
Okay, no.
Hey, Psycho, real quick. Hold on. Psycho, try turning the gain down just a little bit more. I got used to it, but people still saying it's bad. Try turning it down a little more. And
okay, my fault. All
right. Yeah, that's better. All right, go ahead.
All I was saying was it wasn't all of affirmative action, but this is how they conflate the messaging, because the people who think like psychopaths dominate the messaging. It was academic affirmative action where a group who was qualified couldn't get in. Okay, even though they had the skill, they had the scores and all this or what have you, you know. So this is another point of when we bark up the wrong tree. Hell, we got.
You gotta understand what's going on, though.
Sir, here's what's going on. Black boys read at barely do math and do read barely at their grade level. I want to see that same full assault on code force like they did in Mobile on that. But wait, y'all ain't gonna do that. That's gonna require strategic planning. That's going to require persistence. No, and it's not quick enough for just beating up.
When you say y'all, you mean me? You mean individually, or you mean
it doesn't give an immediate high as using brute strength and things of that nature.
Can you elaborate when you say y'all? Who was you referencing? You referencing me in particular?
I'll say your pathology.
Oh well, my pathology pushes homeschooling, and I support institutions that are actually already in place that's teaching kids, that's teaching them STEM, because I believe STEM is what Black people need to focus on because of our low participation in the fields. So so I don't know when you say y'all and everything. Like, be specific when you say that, because you ain't referencing me or anybody I mess with. The people I mess with push education.
You use the term on code, and we just having our celebration, holding our Olympic torch.
Right.
You know,
he's talking about something other than education.
No, I'm saying wave that Olympic torch, victory flag for something, a code up for something.
I do. When my man held the first all-Black science fair out in New York, and I was promoting it, and I didn't see nobody over here.
You didn't tell us about it. We would have definitely given.
I said it on my channel numerous times.
I think I have a reason.
I can't say nobody because Complex Design supported. Complex Design came through. He supported, and a couple other people.
And I understand what you're saying, psychopaths. But here's a problem with that. Science isn't race based. STEM is not race based. And when you try to pigeonhole that under the thought of race, then you are going to automatically silo it from some of the best ideas that come from all over the world.
Y'all talk about this.
Wait a minute.
This is one of the talking points I actually agree with y'all on, how we underrepresented in the STEM fields.
Yeah, hold on, Psycho. I'm trying to understand SKC's point, because you're saying that Black people shouldn't talk about STEM or try to guide or push their kids into STEM. That's somehow going to affect explain what you mean, because I didn't understand that.
Okay, what I'm stating is that what you should do is not try to create Black STEM, Black science, and all that. No, get in the programs that already exist for all kids and people for that. Do not try to make it under some bliggity black thing, because then you are going to silo it from some of the best teachers and ideas that come from all over the world.
Gotcha. All right. Understand that point completely. I agree. But hold on, real quick. I agree with that 100%. But seeing as I don't know, I'm divided on what you said was 100% accurate, but it does need to be a push that exists somehow. Maybe I don't know how it should exist. I don't have the answer sway on that, but it does need to be.
I do have an answer for that. That is one of the major issues of why I state this whole idea of looking at things from a racial viewpoint is holding success or generations back, because you are siloing ideas that are coming from all over the globe, because you want to hold to this, oh, we are this racial tribe and so forth and blah blah blah. It's like, no, you are never going to be able to surpass all of those great ideas from other cultures and people by trying to solely consolidate under black. That's never going to happen.
Right, I agree, but what I'm trying to say is that there does need to be some kind of push. You didn't address this. Okay, you obviously agree there's nothing wrong with black people pushing their kids into that, guiding, molding, grooming them into that. So it starts at home. So there's no
integrate them with other groups and other cultures. You need to do that. Because even the study habits within your own culture are faulty.
That's cap.
Agree.
You got people that come over here from Africa, that come over here from Asia. They ain't never experienced no other cultures, and they do fine in school. I don't. What do you mean?
They have but they are exposed to other cultures. Strong culture. Hold on a second. They are exposed to other cultures if they're here, psychopathia.
Right, but when they got here, they already had education. They didn't get here and get smart when they got here.
I think what he's saying, okay, the way I take what he's saying, and I that's what I did like what you said yesterday, SKC, is that you're when you think like this and just think way too narrowly is what he's saying. This is not my full opinion or whatever. You're thinking too narrowly, especially in scientific fields like math, science, engineering, okay, where you have to think.
Our people run for science, and that's a problem. That's a problem, and I've been seeing this as a problem. We scared of science. We get spooked out by science because of silly theological beliefs and everything else. It's a common trope around our community, the whole white man science. I hear that so much where I want to puke. Black people are quick to give the white man to copyright the science, to trademark the science, even though science is universal. Science is universal, just like math, just like numbers. I don't care. It's just like a punch in the face. I don't care where you at, and all these things resonate across all different cultures and languages. But some reason black people
are all cultures equal.
We need to focus on that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Are all cultures equal psychopaths?
Are all cultures equal? No. As far as what?
Effectiveness in our modern society.
Effectiveness in our modern society. What do you mean, westernized society? Because everybody ain't living under the same society. You talking about here? You talking about in this country?
Yes, here.
In country, in this country,
ineffectiveness.
No. I mean, we under a dominant society. I mean, what do you mean?
Okay, so what's wrong with
society? White people have the same.
Yeah, white people are the dominant society in this country. Yeah.
No, they're not.
Okay, so what's wrong with just adopting?
They don't have. They're not the largest demographic in this country.
That's because they're the largest demographic. That doesn't mean that they're the ones who perform the best.
That means they're the dominant society.
All smart.
The ones who have the most numbers are the dominant society. The ones who have the most numbers.
So psychopaths.
I think predominant is the right word.
What's wrong with just
predominant,
adopting,
not dominant?
What's wrong with adopting cultural strengths from other groups that are better, that are more effective?
You think it's better? You think it's better?
No,
you
that are more
other
effective.
I don't.
That are more effective. What's wrong with that?
More effective how? What do you mean more effective?
Holy shit! If their kids are going into STEM, graduating STEM, and working in STEM when they're adults, more than us, clearly they're doing an effective job at guiding them into that. So yes, us doing whatever it is that they're doing would be good and would be beneficial.
All right. If that's the case, drop the Bible, SKC. Drop that Bible. Them white people dropped that Bible a long time ago. They don't go to Bible. They don't go to Bible study. They don't go to Sunday school. They don't do none of that silly, spooky stuff. They're not chasing ghosts. They're not chasing good Jesus. They're not doing none of that. So no, we're gonna embrace what white people do. We're gonna do what white people do. But when it gets to that, y'all, that's when we draw the line, right? When we get to that Bible,
I think the logical. Wait a minute. The logical way to go about it is to pick the aspects of other cultures that work. The things that they individually have that work. If they're doing something that's bad or problematic that don't work, like somebody mentioned earlier. I never even looked up the stats on that, but I'll go with what somebody else said that when it comes to pedophilia or crimes against children, white people do that more. Obviously, we don't want to adopt that. But if their kids are graduating STEM and doing, their kids do on average more hours of homework, okay, let's adopt that one. Like that's really the answer when I say I don't know talk about the answer sway to getting more black kids into the STEM field. That's really the answer. So I mean,
why can't we talk about the one consistent way
down to in that equation? What it comes down to in that equation is that people don't recognize that there are bad parts of their culture, and they do not want to get
right. But this is what kills me about people like that.
Because in order to take on positive and more effective habits,
right? I got you. I coach this crap. They coach is great. Got it. Now this what kills me about people like you.
There are just
people like you will complain. He don't want me to get it out because he know where I'm going. People kills me about people like SKC is people like himself will complain about black culture, how messed up black culture is, and how great white culture is, and everything else, this, that, and the third. And he would talk about how we need to change our culture. We need to change our culture. Right? Cool, fine, all that. What's the one consistent thing that's been in our culture since we got here in this country? It ain't been hip hop. It ain't been gangster rap. It ain't been it ain't been chilling in the corners. It ain't been impregnating all these women and all this stuff. No, that Bible has been the most consistent. Because that Bible is what keeps us away from science. Not corner.
I don't have anything against it.
I don't have anything against it. I know because I be in these communities.
So what is your point? So what is your point? I don't have anything.
I argue with all these Hebrews. I argue with all these Muslims. I argue with all these Moors, all these fake Indians. I argue with all these people, and they all spooked out, and they all anti-science. They all antis, and the reason why they anti-science is they got these kooky ass beliefs about ghosts, ghouls, and goblins. So what we need to do is drop the ghosts, ghouls, and goblins, and then we can step into reality. How about that?
Okay, and that's fine. I agree. What I'm saying to you, Psychopathies, is when has that ever been my argument? What are you talking about? Bible and all this other stuff. What are you talking
Because you blame everything but the Bible. You will blame everything but the Bible. And that's the one consistent. Throughout hundreds of years. I got hundreds of years sample size.
What are you talking about?
It actually is.
That is the one consistent in our community. That has never changed.
Booker T. Washington was one of the most industrious man there was and was a believer. Stop it. The Hidden Figures ladies were believers. I can go into you for many people. So please.
Hey, I can name you a bunch of pookies. I can name you a bunch of pookies and Ray Rays that are believers too. All those pookies and Ray Rays y'all talk about that be murdering people. These people believe in God. These people believe in God.
He believes that this is a point against the population that doesn't read.
These ain't atheists that's doing this. This ain't agnostics
that's doing this. I'm trying to understand how he's trying to make a point against a population that does not read.
SKC, let me get this.
They know that Bible though, but they know that Bible.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. I talk to them. You don't. I'm telling you, they do.
Okay, hold on a second. Why is it now in 2023? I'm going to go back to these reading rates, but these are some of the lowest reading rates in the history of Black people, even 20 years after fucking slavery. But what was the binding content there? Or what you say, that Bible? You don't have to be one of these goofy ass believers. You know what you're saying? Because I get it. You're an atheist. I get it. That's your worldview. But don't say no shit like, it's been that Bible, when we can point to generations before when Black people were thriving, when they actually had a family unit and a belief in something. You're trying to.
I can name you a bunch of people. I could name you a bunch of people. Let's put it this way. You can't name me no atheist that's ruined the community in no kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. Not one. I challenge you.
Would you
I
like me to
challenge
start?
you to name me one. Wait. I challenge you to name me one atheist that ruined the community. You can't name me one.
You do
I just
know
named
that
you one.
communist nations have
How you
been
ruin the community?
atheists for
Okay,
a long
wait.
time.
You guys show me how
this, right?
and
that those
I'll tell you how.
communist
I'll tell you
nations
how. We can start off with how Huey Newton. We can start off with how Huey Newton. Wait a second. We can start off with how Huey Newton
ruined the community.
Sodomize. I'm sorry. Use the broom to sodomize Bobby Seale. We can start off with their drug dealing. We can start off with how they were getting their instructions.
Right. They didn't. Right. All that, but they didn't create the drugs. They didn't create the drugs. They didn't bring the drugs into the community. Drugs are already there. Drugs are by the time the Panthers got by the time the Panthers got involved in all that drug dealing, this is like the 80s. You're talking about this is after the Panthers already dissolved. It's after the Panthers already dissolved.
We can talk about them involved in pimping also too. You want to get deep on this one? We can talk
about
them embracing the LGBT. Hold a second. We can talk about Huey Newton in 1970 telling you guys that the LGBTQ and what's the other one? LGBTQ is our partners and they more rebellious.
Yeah, they started showing party lines. I know all about that. I just did a show about that. Yeah, I know all about it.
So first you said, where's the atheists that have destroyed?
Right.
Y'all still hold them in high regard. Whereas,
now wait up. Now hold up now. Let's get this clear. Huey P. Newton wasn't an atheist; he was agnostic. Let's get that clear. Right now, he was agnostic.
I'll send you a cash app.
What happened?
What'd you say, Sir? Oh, sorry, Sir Ty's got a roll. All right, yeah, that was a rabbit hole. But all right.
There's a difference between atheist and agnostic. But I was going to address what you were just saying. But you about to shut this down?
Well, we haven't heard from Brandon Bay or Brandon B. Go ahead and speak. I probably will shut it down pretty soon, but go ahead and speak.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon.
All right. Peace, Psycho. I was basically jumping on here. I just found a little bit of time. I was coming up here in reference to that statistic that I put in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know what was your interpretation of what I put, because it seemed like you had misinterpreted what I stated.
Brother, I did you super chat it? Because if you super chatted, I could find it because it'll still be there.
Oh,
but if it was just a random comment, you're gonna have to refresh me. Oh wait, oh no, I think oh no, it got starred. I think RM started for me. Okay.
Don't lowball me either, Brandon. They asking for how much? $50. $50, no less than $50. Don't lowball me, Bernard. $50.
We about to end the show, so we ain't gonna do it. We not
25. I'll take 25 and 25, but don't lowball me, dog. $50 or better.
No, we not doing that. I wasn't even thinking, but that's funny. But no, you saying according to the FBI database, 16,975 arrests for crimes. Over 4,700,000 of them were committed by white people, and over 1,800,000 were committed by black people. Okay.
Yeah.
No. So what's your question?
It wasn't a question. My question was my question is your interpretation of that, because you'd mentioned it. You'd said something along the lines of I think it was our general population and or
okay, I remember now.
I'm not quite sure exactly. So I was
I got you.
Trying to get a
no. This what it was. When people quote those stats, they tend to do that in an attempt to downplay black crime. What I said was two things that got to be accounted for. One, the total population percentage. White people about 68% of the population, and black people 13% of the population. So so that's why, obviously white people are going to overall commit more crime. But when also, and it's worth pointing out, when you narrow it down to violent crimes, murdering, mugging, jacking, robbing people at the point of a gun, beatings or just fucking somebody up and shit like that. Yeah, it's significantly higher with black people, and that's a part of, the only factor in the equation. Oh, with
Not
murder. You
not
gonna
not
you gonna
not
you gonna play the
necessarily.
game with murder? You gonna play that game? You gonna say that murder rate ain't high
No,
like
the
that?
murder rate definitely, and robbery, I'd say definitely, but literally in every other category, it's more than doubled in the white community per
In
100. Like, so basically per their entire makeup, which would be, what they're estimating is 231,900,000.
Okay. You said what is that number?
That's how many white people that they say that there are here in the United States.
Okay.
And out of that number, they're saying 4,729,290 of them are arrested for committing crimes. Out of, again, when I made my reference to those numbers, I'm just looking at the stats. I'm not making anything up from
All right, and is black people still what is it, like 42 million of us?
41.6.
All
And
right,
again, out of
so
that percentage,
that 200
that
that
leads
200
me to 4%, basically. Out of 41 million is 4% of us. 4.3%, 4.36%
and what
of us that are
percentage
committing those
and
crimes.
what percentage, how many times or what percentage of that 4,700,000 is to the 200 something million white people?
2.39%.
Okay, so that would mean that even overall with the total numbers, you just did the math and showed that yes, they commit crimes at I think that's like was that a 50% lower rate or 100%? I'm get confused. I think that's a 50. If ours is at 4 and theirs at 2, then yeah.
But that's out of the grand total. Again, that's out of the total of the people.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
it doesn't represent, again, the 100%, because if we break it down in a pie form, that'd be like what, maybe roughly 95% are not, and the 4% that are.
Okay.
Give or take.
No, I can accept. Okay, so what people do when they pull out that stat, what that does, basically nobody should be worried about no crime at all.
No,
Crime
of course
shouldn't be
you
talked
should.
about because no, what you're saying is, hey, based off the math, only 4% of people are committing crimes, and I don't even know if that's accurate. That then the one that 42 million, that's accounting for
black people are not committing crime.
babies.
I'm going by the FBI.
4%, no, but I'm saying we took the number 42 million and we ran the numbers with that nearly 2 million right there and said, okay, it's like 4%. Okay, cool. With it still, that 42 million, that includes elderly people, babies, infants, children, and everybody. So I think the percentage of people that commit crimes are actually higher to the point to where than just say, oh, it's only 4% to do it. We don't know. Nobody needs to worry about crime. It's like, no,
I'm not saying not to worry about crime.
No, that's not what he's saying.
In no way, shape, or form did I say not to worry about crime.
Yeah, he's trying to say the narrative that it's all these black people out here committing crime is completely false. Most black people are working class people. That's most.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Most black people are not committing crimes. That's the simple point.
I mean, at its simplest point, yes. That was my purpose in that. I didn't.
No,
I wasn't.
Fair enough. I respect that. But go ahead. Go ahead, Pablo. Go ahead. I'm about to get off here soon. I'm sleepy and tapped out. Go ahead, Pablo. I'm ready to wrap on up. All right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna keep you long, but psychopathia made my ear perk up. Because I want to paraphrase you correctly, psychopathia. I don't want to misquote you. So is your position that Americans as a group should not look outside the cultural clues? Could you hear me?
You cut out for a second, brother.
Yeah,
So
I missed some
black
of it.
people, black Americans. Okay.
Pablo,
Okay, so
hold
that
on real
black-
quick, Pablo. Are you
Black
driving
Americans,
or
in your view, should not look outside.
Pablo?
No,
You're killing
I'm
us, man.
literally sitting at my laptop.
Yeah, I
Hello?
don't know what's going on, yo.
I think
Somebody
he's trying to
wiggling.
say. I think I got the premise of what he was saying. I'm saying that black people can, chew on the meat and spit out the bone. As far as like again, I push certain things, right? I don't feel like we should have to emulate white culture in order to advance as a society. I do feel like there's certain things that we have to focus on, though, like science, technology, mathematics. We getting left behind there. We kind of generations behind. And the reason why I pointed out the Bible, they said I was tap dancing and running when I brought the Bible. No, like he brought up culture, right? He brought up culture.
So
That's one of them. I'll pass it 1 second. I'll pass it right back. He brought up culture, right? And you cannot detach religion from culture. Every culture has a religion that is attached to it. And the one constant within our culture is this Bible. And this Bible has done more damage than good, in my humble opinion. And it's also the main thing that's kept us out of STEM. So my whole thing, if I'm pushing for STEM and I feel like this Bible is a problem, then you feel like, if you agree with me, we should go to STEM, and culture is a problem, then you should also start focusing on that Bible because there's a common ground there.
So if Asian children are required by their parents to study 3 hours a night, and black American children are only required by their parents on average to study for 45 minutes, do you think black American parents could learn something from the Asian parents about how much time each child should spend engaged in academics?
Yeah, I feel like I definitely push for education. I feel like we should definitely be involved in our kids, academia.
I didn't say involved. I said required.
Well, that's being involved. That comes with being involved. Yes.
Right. So if that is one instance of a cultural norm in Asian parents, what does that have to do with their religion?
What religion do they have?
It varies. A lot of Koreans are Christian.
Some of them are. Some are westernized Christians, westernized Asians. Yes.
Yeah, I think they're Buddhist. A lot of
some
them,
are
right?
Buddha, some are Buddhists, right? Exactly. Some
and even Muslims. So what I'm
Buddhism
saying
Buddhism is damn near like some mystical atheism, really, to me.
East Asians, yes. You got some Muslim East Asians, yes.
So what I'm saying is, and let me give you an example. Do you know what Europeans were wearing when they first began to turn up on the shores of Western Africa to trade? What kind of garments they were wearing?
Kente cloths.
No,
I'm just playing. Go ahead, Pablo. Go ahead. Get there. Go ahead.
They were wearing wool.
Yeah, for the most part.
But the Africans introduced them to a new fabric that was lighter, more breathable, and more appropriate for warmer climates. Do you know what that fabric was?
What
It was called cotton.
Mm-hmm.
And so cotton originates from the Nile River Valley. And so
they got cotton from us, and then they made us pick it. Them motherfuckers. Then they made us pick it. Them motherfuckers.
Continue, Pablo.
But you don't want to
see exactly where you're going.
But you don't want to learn from anybody. You just want to silo yourself off and say, we don't need to learn them from them white folks.
What are you talking about?
The whole thought was that he gave an example of how white people came to your country, took something that you were making, and then they made an entire industry out of it because they were willing to drop something that they were using on a regular basis and adopt what you were using, and then they completely dominated it. But that was only because they were open to new ideas from cultures and people that did not look like them.
Right. And I'm failing to understand your point with this.
My point is it goes all the way back to the original question where I asked you, are there cultures that are more effective in our modern society? And you did a spin move and went to religion instead of just answering.
Religion is a part of culture. Religion is
okay,
religion.
But
The
answer,
what is culture?
The question still remains: are there cultures that are more effective in this modern society?
What is culture if religion ain't a part of it? What is culture? Then you gotta tell me what culture is, because religion is a huge part of culture.
I think the point. I'm about to wrap this up, but no,
I want to know why he keeps running from the religion conversation. He want to keep talking about culture, but don't want to talk about anything that's involved with culture. He don't want to talk about that.
Here's the deal. There's an argument to be made about the many ways that religion has sort of held back or crippled Black people's mindset in many ways. I'm actually with you on that to some degree, the way but I don't know if it applies to. I don't know if it applies firmly to the argument when he's talking about taking things from this culture or that culture and using it.
It's grandma's teachings. It's grandma's teachings. Grandma told him the Bible was X, Y, and Z, and we supposed to listen to it. So they still listen to grandma.
Yeah, and you go back far enough. The slave master told
grandma.
The slave master told great grandmama about the Bible. But some people believe the Bible is a good thing, and they don't care how we got it. I have my controversial views about the Bible that I don't even talk about on my show no more.
I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about culture, that involves music, food, language, religion. If we're going to talk about culture, we got to talk about culture. He only wants to talk about music. He wants to talk about music. He wants to talk about actors. He wants to talk about the corner, but he don't want to talk about what people was indoctrinated when they was little kids, before they knew a corner existed. Before they knew anything about drugs and everything else, they knew God existed. At least they felt like God existed. They was told God exists. Yeah. They don't want to talk about that.
All right. We about to get up out of here. Thank you, Psycho Bates, for coming through. Thank you,
no doubt,
Brandon Bates. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and thank you, SKC. For the one-on-one. We went at it a bit, but hey, I think it was a conversation that needed to be had. But all right, cool. Let's. Oh shit! There I go. Always forgetting.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
All right, there it is right there. Make sure you go subscribe to Machismo TV. Make sure you go subscribe to Machismo TV. The link should be there it is, link in the chat room. Go subscribe to Machismo TV. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.